if you are not a member of our project, and you are or a guest of anyone, or you're doing any other project besides what we do, give me a 1. If you've never been here, we'll cover that next. But if you're not involved with our project, give me a 1. Okay. So, in Hero, Greater London, UK. Excellent. Yeah. Friday here on our news in Raleigh, North Carolina. Flying taxis are coming soon. Yeah, I've seen that, and I know that Elon Musk, who is a boyhood friend of Cobus, who's with us, has talked about this before. And he's even, there's been some stuff out there where he's doing some testing on some of that stuff. But of course, hey, he's the richest man in the world now, so he can do anything he wants, right? All right, so we got a couple people that are guests. Yes. So I will put that out there. Just a second here. Okay. So you'll have to. I keep having to change my friends because I've got over 5,000, and that's all you can have friends. So a Facebook, a little gold nugget for Facebook. Your friends do not really count in the analytics that Facebook looks at for your reach and then engagement that follows. Okay. Yep, Monica is absolutely right. Okay, so we'll do, because we got some guests, let's respect the guests. Doesn't matter if there was only one guest here, we're going to respect the fact that our training is in a safe free zone first and foremost, because what we want everybody to do is you go to my Facebook profile. Okay, when you go to my Facebook profile, you will see that you can share, you can actually copy a link now in Facebook, which is, you don't want to share anymore. If you're going to do that, copy the link. Okay, but I don't want you copying my link. I am branded. Anybody that goes to my Facebook profile will absolutely see that I am branding myself. And that's what each and every one of you have to learn first in order to run a business using social media. Okay, I only use Facebook. I don't even have Instagram tied to my Facebook account yet. I don't have time for it. Okay, but my point is branding yourself. So let's make that a little bit of the training this morning. Okay, give me a 1 if you understand the reason why you have to brand yourself and not brand your business, no matter what it is. Okay. Yes, you are an affiliate. Okay, you're unless you own your own business, obviously you're an affiliate in some form or fashion. All right, but your business would love it that you brand them and not you. But I will tell you a little secret, and I know David Gwynn knows this, and I know Gary knows this. So I'm going to ask if anybody else knows this. So when you're looking at business in general, doesn't matter what it is, as long as it's legitimate, right? Who do you think people join? I want somebody out there, new people first. If you're a new person here, yeah, because Cassandra already jumped out there. Yeah, and that's absolutely right. And you may not even understand this because you've never run a business. Okay, so let's go backwards a little bit. And it doesn't matter what platform you use. Okay, social media obviously is your biggest opportunity for reach in the world now that we live in, and that's why social media platforms are the biggest, right? Facebook's 2 billion people. Okay, they have the capability of being able to have 1 to 2 billion people on their platform at any one time. All right, now let's just look at that from a marketing perspective. It's 1 to 2 billion people. And if you think that the business that you're in is already saturated, you're wrong. If you think that you've lost your reach to anybody possibly because there's 1.6 million people in your current opportunity, you're absolutely wrong. Okay, if you restrict yourself to one specific social media platform, then you are restricted to your reach to that one resource. True enough, right, David?
Absolutely correct.
Yeah. And so, David, let me ask you a question. The only reason that I'm only on Facebook for social media right now is for me, for lack of better, it's just time for me. Do you see the value in being connected to multiple social media accounts?
Yes and no. It
Uh,
depends on your audience.
right, your audience. The audience, also known as your demographic. Okay, because you have to decide when you're branding yourself, you have to decide who you want to do business with before you ever do anything else. Okay. So, in order to learn how to run a business, you have to do some what I call setting up of how you're going to run your business. All right. Facebook is a platform to reach specific people, right? Now, give me a two if it's possible that there's people that are not on Facebook, but they're on other social media platforms. Give me a two. There you have it. Okay. And there's more than Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, by the way. Those are just the big three. All right. But understand that you're basing your reach on social media platforms, particularly because you think that there's only a certain group of people there. All right. Well, you're right and you're wrong. Okay. Because it depends on how you're using your profile. All right. Because a long time ago, Facebook Facebook never taught anybody anything, just so you know. All right. Everybody that comes on Facebook, if you think you're going to get a hold of their customer service department, no, you ain't. The only business I've ever encountered in my lifetime where you have to learn by somebody else or some groups or people that have come before you and so on and so forth. I use this as an example because nobody taught me how to brand myself. I could have learned from some others, but I learned from looking at other people's profiles. I'll give you an example. Cassandra. Cassandra is on this call, and I've shown her profile to other people. Why? Because it is a perfect profile that shows you that she is absolutely branding herself. And that is first and foremost. Okay. So that's what we're talking about for this training for the next. But it's true, Cassandra. I'm not, I'm picking on you, yes, but it's very simple. Cassandra, go ahead and put your Facebook. If you choose to, if you feel compelled to, put your Facebook out there, because I would like people to go see yours. Okay. And the reason that we want to do this is as you want to connect. Look, you want to connect with all the people that are above you and below you, no matter what business that you're in. And you have to understand, I'm going to talk about this for our project in a minute, but it is a generic thing. If you don't start connecting belly to belly with people and get off of this business about, I'm just going to shoot them an email or I'm just going to send them a text, you have got to connect and do what we're doing right here. Okay. No, I'm not necessarily talking about you got to have their phone number and you have to know their next of kin and their and every child's name. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about connecting with each other, no matter what business that you're in, so you can find the commonalities between each other to help each other build whatever business you are in. Give me a 3 if that makes sense. Give me a 3 if that makes sense. If it doesn't make any sense, give me a 1. If I've totally lost anybody with what I'm talking about so far here, give me a 1.
1.
I heard you. All right. What do I need to explain, David?
I missed that. My sister walked behind me.
I heard somebody back behind you say 1.
That's my sister.
That's okay.
I'm trying to teach her, you know.
Yeah,
And
well, she said 1, so that means that she needs to understand better what we're talking about here. So what we do, David's sister with no name, sorry about that.
Debbie's her name.
Debbie. So Debbie, what we do is we ask a person now a specific question. So specifically, what is it that you don't understand so far?
She left the room, Bob.
That's okay. But yeah,
She's bashful.
that's okay. No. That's all right. That's all right. Hey, we're all bashful until we're not. Give me a
Right.
1. If that holds true with anybody else on here, that at some point in your life, doesn't matter how old you are now, but at some point you might have been bashful. Now, you alpha males and you alpha females, like my wife is an alpha female, she has never been bashful. So that doesn't apply. All right. That does not apply. Gary's wife is absolutely an alpha female. Yep. Alpha female. Pragati, is that right? Am I saying it right? Pragati Raval? Oh, Lord, did I chop that up, David?
Yeah, you have it right.
Don't like, Pragati does not like being visible. You know, and I get that. I get that. So I don't want to disrespect that, Pragati, but I will tell you the computer, obviously not being on camera, part of the computer, behind the text, behind your phone, behind you, allows that, not necessarily anonymity, but the fact to be not visible. And I get that. I get that. And so you have to respect that. We have to respect that, right?
Hey, Bob.
Yep.
Maybe this would be a good point to interject and tell them where I started way back as an introvert and how I went past being an introvert.
Well, I think that's a good story. So it's your story to tell. So
yeah, it's my
go for it.
Back in the day, I started in the MLM that was a forced 2x9. Very similar to what we have, except it didn't go as deep or anything like that. And I was fortunate to put my 2 people in because I was like a fish out of water. Okay. I had a great position. I put 2 very good people that I didn't know they were very good at the time. And so I basically created income. I didn't have to have a job. And I was what you would call a lazy salesman anyway. So after 4 years of sitting on the couch watching TV during the day and bored to death, other than doing a couple meetings at night, that was my only activity. And it became such a boring day for me. I was just going out of my mind, sheer boredom. So I went out and I got a job. And the job that was available at the time, and it was fortunate for me because it was by sheer accident, I became a door-to-door salesman. Now, I'm an introvert, guys. I mean, total introvert, at least at that point in time. And the job I took was cable TV sales, door to door. They give you a computer list, tell you who's on cable, who's not, and you knock on those doors and offer them a special deal. Okay? So I had 0 training. They handed me a computer printout and said, go to these doors that don't have cable and offer them the special deal. So, and they gave me door hangers if they weren't home. So some of you have heard this in training long ago before. It's been a while. So here's what happened. Here's the reality. And anybody that's an introvert or on the shyer side of life will be able to relate to this. When I first started my very first day out in the field, they gave me a bunch of streets. And this was up in Michigan, actually, at the time. So my first street, I'm walking down to my first door and I'm mouse tapping on the door because I don't really want to talk to anybody. I want to put the door hanger on the door and let the door hanger do my work for me, right? Can anybody relate to this? Give me one if you could relate to this situation. All right. Didn't want to talk to anybody, right? So what happens, and you'll be able to relate to this in your own life. You're in your own home, you're sitting in the living room, right? And you see through the curtain somebody's walking up your driveway. What's your first thought? See, only two people walk up your driveway, right? I'm not buying nothing, right? The wall is up. I'm not buying nothing because they're either selling vacuum cleaners or it's a Jehovah's Witness. That's about it, right? So here, intruder alert, exactly. Right? So as I'm walking up a driveway, somebody peeked through, they open the door and say, what do you want? And I get to do my pitch. Well, guess what, folks? Every time I talked to somebody, I made a sale. Almost. But every time I had hung a door, how much money did I make? Zero. Right? Zero. But every time I talked to them, so by the time I hit 50 doors, what do you think I was doing? Bam, 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 bam. I want to talk to them now. I've learned if I talk to them, I made money. When I didn't make any money. Okay? So I overcame my greatest fear by doing what? By doing the very thing you fear. That when you take here, it is an old thought. It takes 28 days to create a habit or 28 days to break a habit. Folks, that's it. So the very thing you fear, talking to people, if you talk to people, you will make what? You will sponsor people. You'll convert people. They'll get to know you. Okay? They'll get to know you. Now, I'll take it a little bit farther because I was still a really lazy salesperson at that time because I could go out and work 3 hours and make what most people make half a week. Okay? So once I made X number of sales for the day, I pack up my stuff and go back home. Until a manager I had a really good week one week, and I had already made over 30 sales at that time. That's a lot of sales, okay? In the cable business, that's a lot of sales. That's a really good week. So my manager came up and said, you know, if we bust 50 or 60 sales for the week as a group, we get a $3 bonus per sale. I said, what? He said, yeah, we get a $3 per sale bonus. Well, guess what? He found my hot button, right? My hot button. I didn't know it was my hot button, but I went and busted my butt for the rest of the week. So here's the result, okay? I had 58 sales for the week. I made my first $1,000 a week paycheck. And after I made my first $1,000, I knew what? I knew how much work it took to make 1,000. Now we're talking about 1990 now, guys. Well, I don't know how much equivalent that would be today, but $1,000 was one heck of a lot of money back then. Okay. But once you learn the amount of work it takes to create something, you always know what it takes. Yeah, my greed button. Yeah, I have to say that's he hit it. Okay. I never could accept less than $1,000 a week after that. It was unacceptable because I knew what it took. Okay. When you do something one time and you accomplish something you hadn't been there before, you now know exactly what it takes. So, how many of our shy people want to learn how to break the introvert habit, guys? Give me a one if you want to make that next step. Okay? Now, when we do that, and we got a lot of ones, so everybody can relate to where I was. Okay? The next step is to attract those people so they approach you versus you approach them. How easy is it, folks, when somebody approaches you to talk to them versus you approaching them? Everybody get that picture? When somebody calls you, how hard is that wall? How high is that wall of resistance when they call you? Right? Low. So when you take away the resistance, right, your conversion rate is sky high. Sky high. Bob often speaks that we do between 90 and 100% conversion rates. Between 90 and 100. You know what an average MLMer or opportunity conversion rate is for most companies? Anybody have a clue? No, that's the average they bring in. How many people do you have to speak to bring the two in? What would be that number? 30% would be pretty strong, Angela.
Well, there is a company out there that claims it and can prove it, but yeah,
Well,
30% is a huge
no,
number,
no,
actually.
but now we're talking about two different things. Conversion rate of the number of people you talk to. So to get 30 means you're signing 3 out of every 10 you talk to.
That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay.
Exactly
Okay.
what I'm talking about.
Okay.
I'm talking about conversion of somebody that's not a paid member from a free member to a paid member.
Oh, okay. All right.
There is a company that claims 30%, and they can prove it. But the only point about that is Gary is correct. That is a huge number in of itself, and that's not the industry average.
No,
it's 2 to 3%. David just put it in there.
Yeah, yeah. I got to the point I was very good at some points. I've had points where I went months at 90%. And people talked about people with 15% rate were treated like gods in the sense, because that's how good they thought they were. But there's certain things you get to use when you're talking one-on-one with somebody, particularly if that person came to you versus you going to them. The easiest thing, body language will play a part, but I want to show you a little psychology and this will be right up Bob's alley as well. When we ask questions that only have one possible answer, right? You can only get a yes out of that answer. That's what you're looking for, right? So if you've answered yes 4 or 5 times, I want everybody in the audience to try this. I want you to shake your head yes 5 straight times and try and switch it to a no on the 6th. Okay? Try it and see what it feels. Tell me
3,
how
4,
uncomfortable that
5.
is.
Oh yeah.
How
Bridge of my neck.
uncomfortable is it? Right?
Amy got dizzy.
So people will not do what's uncomfortable. Okay? They might get buyer's remorse tomorrow, but
Very
they're
good,
not
Neil.
going to say no because it's not comfortable. Okay? That's the key, folks. Asking the right questions that you can only get the answer that boxes people in to the position that you want them to have.
And to expand a little bit before I give this back to Gary on that particular point. So here's the gold nugget. Every time you pose a question, yes, you pose a question that specifically takes your prospect down a path to only yes answers. Okay. And in order to do that, it takes practice. It does. And you're not going to do this overnight, especially if you've never done this. And if you've never done belly to belly, you're not going to learn it overnight because it is I consider it, it's old school from back before the 90s. All right. But we have, with the business models that we have out there, especially ours, you have to do belly to belly. And belly to belly is face to face marketing to that degree. Okay. And so you have to do what? You have to pose questions that when I pose a question to you, I'm going to follow that up with, does that make sense? And it's either, and the reason you pose the question is because if you get a no answer, you're going to go backwards and start over again. Give Gary and I too, if this makes sense to you right now, what we're talking about. Okay. All right. I'll give you an example. Gary, play along with me.
Okay.
On this one, and we'll just make for practical purposes and time sakes, everything's to the affirmative. We'll cover issues in another training where we actually have somebody either stalling you or
Objections.
Yeah. Okay. So Gary, I
Yes.
understand that you watched the 2 videos that we have. Is that correct?
I have it. They have my attention.
Okay. And that's exactly what we want. So let me just, first of all, talk to you about the first video. So the first video that I sent you was based on the fact that we are going to learn how to help ourselves and our families, and then turn around and then be able to learn how to help others. And so the vision is why we're doing it and whom we're trying to help. Does that make sense to you?
It does. It's 100%. It does.
Okay, right there you stop. Right there you stop. Neil's right. Right there you stop. Why? Because the only thing important to me right now is that Gary understands that it makes sense why we are doing what we're doing and for whom we're doing it for. Now, this is generic. Okay, so if you don't have a video in your tools that does that first, all right, that sets the tone for why you want to do what you're wanting to do. Now, does that fit for every single product or thing? No, not necessarily, but for a lot, it will. Okay, because why? If your prospect doesn't understand why you are doing this, and for whom that you're doing it. And in this particular case, the for whom first and foremost is your family, and the for whom secondly is all those that are in financial distress in some form or fashion. Give me a 3 if you're following what we're doing here. Neil's right. Open and close questions. So if you leave a question open, then they have everywhere to go. If you pose a question closed, that's what this is in sales technique. Okay, so Gary gave us the affirmative. Okay, so Gary, so you do, so we're on the same page, Gary. You do understand why I'm doing this and why you listen to this very carefully, folks. Gary, you understand why I'm doing this now and why you possibly will want to do this as well. Is that correct?
That's correct. I want to see my grandchildren not struggle the way I did.
Okay, you see that right there. You stop right there and you have to analyze what we're doing here. Again, these are questions that I'm going to get an answer, because is Gary going to tell me that he doesn't care about his family and doesn't want his family to succeed? Absolutely. Somebody tell me the answer to that. The way I posed that question and the way I followed it up, does Gary get the potential to tell me that he does not care about himself, does not care about his family, and does not care about helping anybody else? The short answer is maybe, but the big answer is absolutely not. Right, David Gwynn got it. David Gwynn got it. The children is what this is all about in the bigger scheme of things, okay? So does it make sense? Give me a 2 if it makes sense now, no matter what you're doing, that you have to have a why you are doing it so you can get a yes from somebody else to possibly do it. You got to have a why you are doing it, and then a visual. That's what the video is. It's a visual showing you what's going on around you that you may not even see directly. But you know people that are in financial stress, and even possibly you. And although you may be able to pay your bills, and you may be able to do some things for your children, and you maybe had a good Christmas, that's not what this is about. This is about the next level that you're not there because you don't have the income, even with 2 people working in today's society, to do these things. Give me a 3 if you're following where we're going still. Give me a 3 if you're following. If you don't understand why we're doing it the way we're doing it here, or you don't follow how we're going with this, give me a 1. I want to make sure, Gary and I and David, we want to make sure that you're understanding why, first of all, why we're doing this way. This is belly to belly. This is not you sending a text. This is not you sending an email doing this. No. I'm going to tell you something right now. Gary and I have over 11,000 people. I don't even have to check my back office, but I could go to my back office right now. Gary, am I wrong?
It's not showing now. They got a message over the top of that section, so you
Okay.
can't see.
All right. Well, I knew Antonio and I had some conversations that we're going to get to. We need to get to it right away because we're already 40 minutes after the hour. But again, to wrap this up, David, let's get David in here. David's is one of our senior leaders that is here today. David, can you add, subtract anything to what we've done or said so far that you'd like to throw in there?
No, I just like the process, start to finish, as far as what questions to ask, open and close questions. And in most particular cases, you've got to be a good listener.
Oh, absolutely. I forgot
You have
that.
to be
Hey,
a
Bob.
real good listener, and to listen to what your prospect is saying. You should be able to hear it and you should be able to feel it.
That right there, because those of you that don't understand the psychology behind what we teach is okay, because you have to learn that. Okay, because we're talking about doing things that you may not even do with your own spouse. one of the biggest problems with relationships is that we don't listen to each other. What David just told you is, I've got 40 years with my wife. I've had to learn over the last 40 years how to actually listen to her and her to me, because we're both alphas. Okay. And if you understand what alpha males and alpha females are, and the two of them are in a relationship, you can't even imagine the stuff that happens, and how in the world two people that are alphas in the same relationship are still in the same relationship after 40 years. Well, I can tell you how. We have learned how to communicate with each other, but it didn't happen overnight. So I can even use this, right, David? We can use
Exactly.
we can use a relationship experience in the same way that we teach you how to now run your business. Okay. And again, keep everything simple. Exactly, Lucretia. Exactly.
Perfect.
Exactly. Keep everything simple. I know, Gary, you were trying to chime in there. What's up?
Yeah, I got two thoughts. I want everybody to remember that belly to belly could be a Zoom call.
Yes. Use the technology.
The technology is still there. But the second thing, I want everybody to I'm going to ask a question. I want
Wait,
everybody.
hang on, Gary. Hang on. Just for clarification, Zoom's free, but you don't have to use Zoom. Okay, you've got your phone. People that have iPhones, I don't know about Androids, but one thing I just found out about my new iPhone. Thank you, my daughter. She got me an iPhone Pro 15 for Christmas. I don't know how to use it, but that's okay. I'm learning. But my point is, right, David? Can we do FaceTime on our iPhones?
Absolutely.
That's belly to belly. Can we, in Facebook, can we do belly to belly like we're doing this in Facebook Messenger?
Absolutely.
Okay, so you have the technology, you have to use it. Back to you, Gary.
Here's the question. I'm trying to think how to frame this. What's the most important body part you have to close a sale? What body part is the most important? The ears.
Always.
100%.
Only the ears.
Do you know why?
First.
People are going to tell you several things. What's most important to them? They are going to give you their hot button. As long as you ask the right question, they'll give you the hot buttons that's important to them. And it's not the same for everybody.
That's right. And you have to listen or you will miss it.
Some years ago, I signed up a lady that her hot button was animals. It was more important to her than people's lives. Animals' lives had more value to her than her own life. Okay? And so everything in her life revolved around animals. So and I still remember her name, I won't go into that. She was a handful to handle and work with. Okay? She really was. But we had to give her a vision of where the income would help what was important to her. Okay? And that's the key always, is whatever the client tells you, they're guiding you how to have your conversation with them. Okay? So, sales 101, guys. More sales are made from what? A conversation rather than a pitch.
Hey, Gary, you remember when we used to go to the Denny's and do the napkin pitch?
Oh, I've done so many napkin pitches
That's
but
belly to belly, though.
it's belly to belly. But in all sales, not just what we do.
Yeah, and all sales.
All sales are the closing rate goes up as it's a conversation rather than a canned pitch. Okay? Conversation, not a pitch. That's so important. I can't emphasize all the salespeople that have what we call bad habits. Okay? Bad habits. Okay? And when I call bad habit, they get caught into what they think is a sales pitch that's perfect. It tells everything, all the benefits and features and all the stuff that they're gonna. And what does that really mean? Okay. What do people buy? When you buy something, anything, are you looking for the benefits or the features? Yes, solutions would come into that, right?
Somebody, wait, hold, Gary. I want somebody to answer that. Okay, specifically when you're a product driven person, okay, but this is services or anything. You have two things. If you're selling, you're doing it wrong. Everybody thinks that you sell something, whether it's a product or a service or yourself. You do not. You're not. If you're selling, that means that you are not closing people. I will tell you right now, your closing ratio of a prospect to a customer or to a member goes way down if you're sitting there selling what? Selling features.
Features.
You got to sell benefits. Every product or service, or even yourself, you're talking about branding yourself first, have features and they have benefits. Okay. So one of the things you hear Gary and I talking about all the time when we first started doing these Zooms is why in the world, listen, this is branding yourself. I'm going to use Cassandra. Why in the world would anybody ever care to listen or hear from what Cassandra might have to say? Okay. So now Cassandra or us have the opportunity to do one of two things. We could tell you, well, Gary and I, let me just tell you, Gary and I are millionaires. Yes. We travel the world. Yes. But what is that telling you? All that's doing is telling you the me things, the I things. And I and Gary and David and Cassandra is not about any of us. It's about you. And for you, it has to not about be, it can never be about you. It has to be about them. Is that right, Gary?
That's 1,000%
Hey,
right.
David, is that right? You have to unmute, buddy.
Yeah.
Would you agree, David? Would you agree to that?
Absolutely would.
Add to that then.
Oh, Lordy.
Yeah, I'm putting you on the spot. Come on, you can do it. You've had your coffee.
Come back to that. Let me think of something really well.
Here's the thing about David. David is a brilliant marketer. David has one of the biggest teams that I have under me. All right. And David, let me just say, David only started with his first two people, just like me, just like Gary, just like Cassandra, just like Amy, just like Barbie. We can go on and on and on with this. But the point is David learned very quickly that he could do one of two things. And David did. David is a brilliant builder of funnels. Okay. I am pretty darn good at email marketing, and we will teach all these. David will teach funnel building at some point. I'll teach email marketing and strategy and the psychology behind why you open an email versus why you don't open the other 1,000. Okay. But that's not my point. The point is, David, let me just ask you the question and we'll get the answer. So you built a couple of you took and built a funnel for this, right?
Yes.
For this project. And we, at the same time, we had started doing this belly to belly 14 weeks ago, right? Or actually 16 weeks ago, correct?
15 weeks, yeah.
Okay. And so let's talk about the two differences. Now, listen, folks, this does not matter what you're doing. All right. Especially if you're product driven or you're brand driven, because you have a specific skill set that you want to do what? That you want people to buy from you. All right. There is a process to this, but I asked David to build a funnel and he tweaked it. Now, David, tell the world the differences between what the funnel did or did not do versus our belly to belly marketing and what it's done for you.
Basically, the sales funnel for me gets me to a point to attract people to do the belly to belly.
There you go.
Because you got to have the people to talk to before you can do the belly to belly.
So that just tells us that we've got different ways of attracting people, right?
Yes. So when somebody fills out your form, you're already a percentage there because you know something about them already. They are looking for something to do to make money from home. And so based on what you put on your lead capture page, just enough to pique their interest. And then once you get their name, email, some will add their phone number. Now you have a prospect that you can work with, and it's not a cold lead anymore.
Right. And especially if you can get them in Facebook or on a or any way that you can get them face to face, right, David?
Correct. And you've also got to remember one thing. When you're team building, your team is going to follow everything you do. They're going to watch you like a hawk.
Absolutely.
And so they are going to do what you're doing to recruit people for their business.
Yep. And so, David, I'll take that a step further for all of us. So if as an example, this is generic in nature, no matter what opportunity you may be in. And I know a lot of you that are here that are with us are also doing other opportunities, and we care not about that. But I will tell you that everything you do is absolutely does make you visible to especially your people that are with you or that you're trying to attract. And so what do I mean by that? So if you treat your business, your what a lot of people like to call side gig or your part-time thing, right? If you treat it that way, that's exactly how it will return to you. All right.
Exactly.
And that also shows your people that that's how you're treating it, right?
Yes.
Okay. And so what does that mean? That means if you're not coming to business Zooms in your business and or you're not coming to training that they offer, regardless of what kind of training it is or it isn't, then what do you think your people are going to do? Somebody give me the answer. Somebody put the answer in the chat. What are your people going to do based on what you do? They're going to do Beverly Moore, the same thing. And if you think that that's going to be any different, there is a little ditty that's about that. If you continue doing the same thing over and over and you ever expect a different result, that is the direct definition of insanity. And your people will absolutely only do what you do. So what does that mean from a broader standpoint? So let's say that your forte is email marketing. Nothing wrong with email marketing. Okay. It is a way to build your list. And that's what you use email marketing for. All right. Just what David was talking about. List building. Okay. Okay. In your business, you are list building for your business unless you are list building for yourself. And I will tell you that the average person, Gary, correct me if I'm wrong, the average person is worth $1 per month per person to whoever owns the email.
That's a consistent number throughout the history of email marketing.
Okay. It's simple. Okay. I've got 11,000 emails under me. What, $1 a person
It's a good number.
is a good number, right, David?
I've heard of
Is
a
that
lot
number
of,
is that number maybe almost close to relevant right now to you, David?
almost, it's getting close.
Yep, it's getting close
You
because
know, I've heard some big time marketers say, you know, they've got 15, 20,000 on their list, and let's say they wanted something special on sale. They can come up with an email and a digital product or just whatever it is, send that to their list, and bam, that goal's been met.
yep, one time.
One time.
One email. Okay,
Yep.
once you build your list, now here's the thing. We talk about that. We're going to wrap this up real quick. Back to the branding for a minute because we kind of got off track with that. So you have to brand yourself and not the company, even with what
Right.
we're doing. Okay, I love the company that we're doing business with, but I am not branding the company. I'm branding myself. All you got to do is go to my profile. I put it in there earlier, and you'll see. You'll see. Now, yes, I've got a couple of links out there right now. And actually, the couple of links that I have out there have nothing to do with this company. Why? Because I don't have to brand the company and I don't have to market the company. I have 11,000 people in my organization, period. Just simple as that. Okay. Now, that didn't happen overnight, but it did happen. What, Gary? In how many weeks?
16 weeks.
16 weeks. 16 weeks. Now I'm going to show you why. I'm going to show you why. And folks, if guests are still here, this is what I want you to see. Does your way of doing your business give you the opportunity to show something very, very, very critical to your success? Give me a 1. Ladies and gentlemen, give me a 1 if you have at least 2 people under you right now that make you qualified for all the commissions in your business and you are already in profit. Give me a 1. Guest, I want you to see this.
Hey, Bob, before we let the guests go, I want to reinforce one little story for them real quick.
Yep. I want the guests to see this because why? This has nothing to do with it's our business. The business has nothing to do with what I'm showing you. What has everything to do with it is how you run your business. Now, how in the world do we have almost 200 people in here and almost 200 people just told you that's not 10%, that's not 30%? What did Gary tell you earlier? We close 90% or better. That's unheard of, but not anymore because of how we are running our business. Yes, the business model itself is effective at helping, but that business model is not 90% of the reason why we have, out of the 200 people here, 190 of them in profit or more. And we haven't even launched. It is the business model of how we are running and teaching you how to run your business. That is why these people are already successful and haven't even started yet. And that is unheard of. Gary, back to you.
All right, this is a question for new people and new people only. New people, how many times in your struggle to make something work have you sponsored a couple of people, recruited, however, whatever terminology you want to use, you brought 2 or 3 people into your business and they were there for 3 or 4 months and dropped off because they weren't making money on you? How many of you, give me a 1 if you've had that experience and you're a new person? Okay. So we can see that people have had that experience before. So I want to tell you how to avoid that situation in the business that you're in. No matter what business, It doesn't make a difference. Because the one of the biggest flaws that happen to us is two things. Until somebody makes money, they struggle. And they're generally paying some kind of auto ship. And the auto ship becomes a burden. And it's a sequence that happens. It doesn't happen all at one time. What happens is you'll notice all of a sudden they stop making the calls and the meetings, and they stop communicating, and they slowly drift away from you, right? You me too, if that's how it progressed for you with the people you lost. New people. Okay? So, how would you like to learn a technique to avoid that situation? Give me a 3 if you'd like to hear a technique to avoid that situation. And it's basically a mindset. So I'm gonna get Bob to role play with me for a minute. Bob, you'll need to unmute. Well, I think Bob walked away. David, would you mind unmuting for me?
Yes, sir.
So David is my new recruit. He has just told me yes. He's in. He's excited.
All the way.
Oh boy, he's excited. So David, before I take you through the sign-up process, I need to tell you a little story.
Okay.
So I'm going to ask you a couple questions, and then I'll go into the story with you. David, is there a McDonald's anywhere near you?
Yeah, several.
Several. Do you know roughly what a McDonald's franchise would cost if you invested in one?
Over $1 million, I'm sure.
Okay. The dollar, folks, the dollar amount doesn't matter what the answer is. Has no bearing. Because it's going to vary from area to area no matter what. So as we go along, David, there's one story I've never heard. The guy that we're talking about that bought that McDonald's, when he paid the $1 million for the franchise, that didn't give him a building. He had to go buy a piece of land, build a building, and guess what he had to do next before he could even flip a hamburger or hire the first person?
Stock it with merchandise.
No, he had to go to
He had to
college.
go to hamburger college.
You have to go to
Oh, yeah,
Hamburger
yeah.
University.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And you think that's a
McDonald's, yeah.
joke. That is no joke. I have 2 people personally that own McDonald's franchises. One of them is in Dallas, and he has 5 of them. And by the way, all of this, not to cut you off, Gary, but it just dawned on me. I forgot this. And I don't know if you know this, Gary. All of this, and these guys are fighting. There's a group of people in Dallas that have 5, actually have 20. Each one of them have 5 or 4. I can't remember. Anyway, the point is the contracts are only for 20 years. And then they've deferred back to McDonald's.
Yep.
And they buy you out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if anybody knows that.
They're vicious, but here's where the story goes, guys.
Yeah, why do they take their financial statements, Gary, and why do they get told that they have to be the manager and be paid the manager's salary for the first year, Gary? And why, on top of all that, are they told that they're going to wait 2 to 3 years before they're in profit, Gary?
That's where I'm
and
headed.
do it. Why? You tell them.
Right.
I know the answer.
So we kind of know the answer, but here's the story for your prospect. So David, you know the one thing that I've never heard a McDonald's franchise owner tell me?
What's that?
I've been at this business for 5 months now.
You'll love this.
And I'm not making what I thought I would make. That damn Burger King up the street is so busy, and I'm just not I need to sell this and buy one of them Burger King franchises because they're always busy. I've never heard that story. You know why? Because when he bought that franchise, he invested XYZ. He knew he wasn't going to make a profit for 3 to 5 years, right? So here's what I'm asking you, David. I'm asking you to commit to this business for 12 months. If I see you slacking up, not coming to the meetings, do I have your permission to check in with you, see what's going on, that I can help you?
Absolutely. Hold me accountable.
So
That's what a mentor does. A
you see where
mentor, you will have a sponsor. That doesn't mean your sponsor is there. Everybody here, I've heard of the term MIA, right? We're talking about sponsors in general in the industry, missing in action.
Missing in action.
And that you see that a lot, right? Anybody, give me a 1 if you've ever had your sponsor in any business you've ever tried to work with MIA on you. Gabby's
Absolutely.
had 15.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See,
But
I just got a commitment out of David. And if you get that commitment from your prospect and they start slacking up, what you've got permission to do what? Contact them back.
Hold them accountable.
Hold them
Hold
accountable.
them accountable. Remind them that they committed for 12 months.
Yep.
Now, this is all fine and good, boys and girls, but the only relevance to anything that we're saying in this part of this training is what? What do you have to be with your mindset in order for any of this to work at all? You have to be focused in your mind. You have to have your why, and you have to be dead serious about your business.
You got to want it.
Yeah, patience is a virtue, Gabby. Patience is a virtue. How bad do you want it? There's a saying out there. You've got to want it so bad that if you stop breathing, that's how bad you would want it. That you wouldn't allow yourself to stop breathing. Self-preservation. Okay? I will tell you something. And you know, this is not gonna, this may offend some of you. It may piss off some of you, but I'm going to tell you right now, if you run this business that you have, no matter what it is, the way you treat your job as an example, it's going to return to you exactly what you give it. And so if you see, I'm just talking about people that are working full-time jobs and stuff. If you're working your ass off at your job because you got to have a job, and your wife is working her ass off at the job because she's got to have the job. Why? Because you've got to pay your bills. You've got to pay, you've got to have money for extra things. And that's why 2 people have to work, and more than that. I know families, everybody here knows families where it's not just the wife and it's not just the husband. It could be an adult child that's living with them still. We have that.
Or special needs children.
Because we live in a society today where the expenses to live is almost outweighing the incomes of just your 2 jobs. Give us a 1 if that makes sense. Yeah, Les Brown, you're right, Dave. You got to be hungry. Who said that, Dave?
Les Brown.
You got to be hungry, literally hungry enough that you're going to do whatever you have to do legally, ethically, and morally to make sure that you fix a problem or a challenge financially with your family first. Because if you don't do that, you cannot help anybody else. Give me a 3 if that makes sense to you. Give me a 3 if we're on the same page. All right, it's 11:11. Thank you, my angels. There you go, David. I tell you, they reach out to me all the time. And you know, just so y'all know, real quickly, there's a very big significance to numbers, obviously, numerology. But 1111 is a specific number that when you start seeing that, and I'm going to leave it at here, that you'll start understanding. And if you ever want to know more about that, just come to David or I. We can share what's going on here. Yeah, but you have 1111, and anyway, that's another subject. Okay, we're at the top of the hour, Gary. So what we've got to do now is we've got to allow the guests that are still here. We thank you. We love you. I want to tell you that that you are free to go or you're free to stay. But we are going to absolutely focus right now on all things Des Alpes for the next hour probably. And yes, it's going to be that. And yes, if you got to go, you got to go. And yes, it's being recorded and so on. But there's some very, very significant things that have happened over the last week to 2 weeks that have come forward that everybody needs to be understanding. And no, we do not have 1,000 people here or 5,000. So what I'm saying to you is all the leaders that are not here, you're not here because you cannot be here or you would be here. I know who they are. Okay, that's fine. People that are members, you're here because you are here, and we applaud you for that. But if you're not here, you know, my hope is that you're not here because you can't be here, not because you just are doing something, whatever. Okay. Again, how serious are you going to be for you and your family first? Because if you're not, don't waste your time trying to help anybody else. Does that
Exactly
ring a bell,
right.
David?
I'd like to add one more thing to that.
Do it.
You know, in life, there's always things that happen, and sometimes there's something we want so bad that we just can't stand it. Let me just say one of the first 55-inch big screen TVs that come in. You wanted that thing so bad you couldn't stand it, but your income wouldn't allow you to get it. But you still wanted that thing so bad. So what did you do? You
Yep.
might have had a garage sale. You might have cut out Starbucks for a month. You done everything in your power. And now that thing is on your wall and you watch movies with your family now. You've got to treat this business the same way. It's got to be treated the same way. You got to sacrifice. You've got to cut things out that you normally wouldn't cut out to make it happen for you. And those are just facts.
Yep.
You got to be that serious about it.
Well, and some of these facts are not facts to the majority of people that have never run a business, because, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to hear me tell you this 1,000,000 times if I haven't told you once. You don't make money because you don't understand the compensation plan, or you don't understand the product, or you don't understand this, or you don't understand that, except for what you don't understand is how to run a business. Because the majority of people in network marketing MLMs, they're not running a business. That is a side gig. This is I'm going to try it. We'll see what happens. You know, I'm going to throw a couple $100 at it. I'll throw $30 a month at it. This person told me that if I just join and pay my $30 a month to the owner of the company, then yes, I don't have to do nothing, and I'll make $9,000 a month. How many of you heard that? Give me a 2. How many of you heard somebody say, just give me $30 a month and just go in there and do nothing, and I will make sure that you're going to make 1,000, 2,000, 4,000, 5,000 a month, but you just got to hang in there. Exactly. Plenty of those kind of business models still right now. Okay, and that business model, right? Isn't that right, David?
Yep, 99%.
Yeah, 99% out there. 99% of all business models are still running where you pay the owner first.
Yep.
Then maybe later in the month you get paid some kind of a commission, but you got to earn it. And if you don't make the commission that month, that's all right. You're just going to pay the next month and maybe the next month. So where do the numbers come that we keep talking about all the time? The 2.8 and the 3 months. That's where they come from. They come from the fact that most people will never bring more than 2.8 people to the show, first and foremost, ever, on any single, it doesn't matter what the company is. So you either live with that or you embrace it. We embrace it. Put that to the side for a second. The fact that you continue paying somebody anything per month first, and month in and month out, while you are waiting to do what? You're waiting for that person that promised you spillover. The most ugliest, nastiest word on the planet is spillover. We don't use it. We didn't use it. We've got 11,000 people fully qualified to prove it. Period. That's a business model. That's a way to build a business versus what's going on around you and maybe still with you. So let's be honest. I'm going to ask this question. I want everybody to be honest. If any of you are in a opportunity right now, it doesn't matter if you're in a, because we're talking about des Alpes now. We're there. So if you're still in an opportunity where you're giving an owner any amount of money every month at the beginning of the month, waiting on a commission, give us a 1. If you're still doing it, give us a 1. There you go. Now, let's qualify that for a second. I want a 2 from everybody that's giving somebody some money up front every month and getting a commission, but getting a commission more than the money that they're paying the owner. Give me a 2. Exactly. Okay, so there are some instances where you could decide, well, you know what? Because I did the same thing. I was in a business. It's gone now. It was there for 7 years, and I was at the top of it. I've got several leaders with me here that were with me in that. And we were at the top of that company. It took us 3 or 4 years, 5 years maybe to get there, but we did it nonetheless. But we were all spending between $200 and $300 per month on auto ships. 2 auto ships, 1 to get paid every month and 1 to keep our rank every month. Give me a 3 if that fits anybody else. Give me a 3 if that fits anybody else. Okay, that you are paying monthly and you're paying an auto ship, and your auto ship may be just maybe safe because you're making enough that at least covers your auto ship. That's not profit. Okay, your auto ships are cost of doing business. That is tax deductible. That's not being in profit. Yes, okay, Bob. Yes, I make $10. All right, well, you worked. Listen, this is like your job. You've worked for 5 years. This is me. I'm going to give you me. I worked for 4 years out of the 7 I was there to get my income to exceed my auto ships. It took 4 years. I did it because I wasn't stopping. I wasn't going to quit, and there was no other business model available. Right, David?
That's right.
That's right. It can bankrupt you. I know people that has bankrupted. Okay, but here's my point. You've got to understand. You do have to understand compensation plans and if they're good, bad, or ugly. Okay, so real quickly, good, bad, or ugly, binary. Tell me in the chat. Don't do it, David. Don't do it. Don't do it, David. Good, bad, or ugly, binary. Ernest, I love it. It's bad and ugly. Binary. Okay. So somebody tell David and I, Gary, why a binary compensation plan is ugly. Bruce, I love it. Bugly. Why is a binary compensation plan ugly? And the worst compensation plan on the planet? Come on, somebody's got a deal. All right, balancing. Ernest just said right there. You only get paid on your weaker leg. Now, did the owner or your sponsor explain that to you when you decided to be involved in a binary compensation plan? I would say probably not. Exactly, because the binary compensation plan only benefits. Now we talk about benefits. Here you go. A binary compensation plan only benefits 2 people: the owner and the top 3%. That's it. The owner and the top 3%. Now, I'm going to tell you about the compensation plan that the company that Amy and I and other people that are here on this call were involved with, and it was it was a unilevel, okay? But the owners of this compensation plan decided to tell us it was a universal unilevel. David, that's a special one, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
That's a special one. Okay, so good, bad, or ugly if you have a unilevel. Potentially now. Come on. Think about it. Think about good, bad, or ugly with a unilevel. Okay, so a lot of you may not even know what unilevel is. Well, you're going to have to know, because part of the 3 compensation plans that we have in our business model, one of them is a unilevel. Yeah, go ahead, Scott. You can, but hold the questions until the end, please. Hold questions till the end. Thank you, Scott. Yeah, the AGs love them. Absolutely. Yeah, but you got to understand that 99% of all businesses that are currently online, specifically online, it doesn't matter what they are, they're geared to help only 2 people: the owner, and you know, you can sit back before I'm going to spout the names now. Before Live Good and before Des Alpes, I would tell you that there was nobody out there that purposely and rightfully and ethically and morally were taking care of the many and not just a few. Why? Because a compensation plan has its limitations normally. Why does a compensation have its limitations? Because those of you that understand compensation plans and understand the ownership side of it say, hey, it is about me. I'm the one that put the $1 million in this model. I'm the one that's risking my money and my family's money. So yes, I get that. We all can get that, right? We all could get that. And we get that, okay? But what happens to that owner is that they build a compensation plan that first benefits them, and then it benefits the 3%. So the owner, from concept to prior to finish, first and foremost goes and does what? They go and find the whales. Everybody know what a whale is. You know what a whale is to the casino establishment, right? The biggest spenders of them all. The biggest spenders of them all. This also follows the 80-20 rule, right, David?
Yes, sir.
80% of the people doing the work for 20% of the people that get paid. Okay? So listen very closely to this. The owners of compensation plans and business models for the last, what, David, 50 years? We could say 50 to 60 years, right?
Oh, easily.
Easily. Only we're doing it for them and the top 3%. And so the top 3% were always the top 3%. Why? Because they already developed their organizations. And so they would say, okay, all right, here's how this works. And you've probably heard this before. I've got 10,000 people, Mr. Owner. Okay, prove it to me. And they'll prove it to them. They'll show them back offices of stuff that they're doing, and they can prove it to them. All right. And so they say, okay, I'm going to give you position number 1. All right. And so if it's not a forced matrix, because on a forced matrix, it's a 2-by structure. So you only get 2 people on your top level. Okay. A unilevel. Okay. A unilevel is all the way across. You can go all the way across. If you can sponsor 100, let's just say you sponsor 100. You have 100 people across your unilevel. Now then the compensation plan works down. Okay, so your compensation plan is level 1 gives you a certain percent, level 2, level 3, level 4, level 5. And typically that's where they stop. Because you got to understand, in any compensation plan, wherever the owner stops the compensation plan at that level, that's the level that you get paid to and not beyond. That's it. Okay. So if you only have a unilevel, you typically means that you're only going to get paid on your first 5 levels. Now, who is that going to benefit? Even if you built a team, okay, how many's on a unilevel? It doesn't matter. Okay, so the owner, what? The owner gets the advantage if it's only a unilevel. This is what is not in des Alpes. We have a unilevel component, but it's not the only part of the compensation plan, and it's not the main compensation plan. So the unilevel allows you to go straight across. Well, let's use 10 for a round number. Okay, David, is that fair?
Yeah.
Let's just say you sponsored 10 people. Now, don't get excited to say, oh, wait a minute, Bob, you said we only sponsored 2. Yes. Yes, we'll get to that. The unilevel, okay? I'm just talking about straight compensation plans. So the owner has a unilevel. I don't care what kind of unilevel he calls it. Doesn't matter. It works the same way. Every time you sponsor somebody, that starts a leg. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Give me a 2 if you're following along. Give me a 2 if you follow along. Give me a 1 if you're completely lost. Okay, right. So now, does it matter if it's only a unilevel, whether you only have 2 legs or you have 10 legs? Give me the answer. Well, of course it does. I want 10 legs of people paying me. I don't want 2 legs. Now, hang on. This is recorded. Don't go running out the door and say, oh, Jesus, Bob just said we should have sponsored 10 people when I could have sponsored 10 people. Bob did not say that. Bob's trying to explain to you how if we were only a unilevel, I would not be in this compensation plan. Neither would Gary. Neither would David. Neither would Amy. I could go on and on and on. Why? Because we all got burnt with this compensation plan as the compensation plan. Why? Because you have to build individual legs. And if you can't bring more than 2, how many legs are you going to have anyway? Somebody answer that. If you can't bring more than 2 people, how in the world is a unilevel compensation plan going to help you to begin with? Right. Exactly. So, okay. So it could be bad and it may be ugly. I say ugly if it's the only plan. Okay, now let's talk about the matrix real quick. Why is a forced matrix in as a component the way to go? First of all, it only requires 2. Right? Give me a 1 if you're following me now. Give me a 1 if you follow me now. It only requires 2. That means we're embracing the 2. Okay? Now, the way we built our des Alpes in 16 weeks is exactly that. You take the matrix and you turn it upside down. Give me a 2 if you're following me. You take the matrix and you turn it upside down, not right side up. Okay, right side up, old school. I'm going to sponsor 10 people and 8 fall, and that's spillover. Yay! The 2 people under you say, yay, I got spillover. Oh, shoot. They're not qualified. Give me a 1 if you're with me. Give me a 1 if you're with me and understand why we did this the way we did it. And why the matrix, a forced matrix. Why? Because it has to do what? It has to fill level by level from left to right before it goes to the next open spot. And that is the perfect compensation plan model in of itself, is a matrix. Now, how deep it goes depends on your perspective. Okay? So in your team building, your team building because you want your team to build past level 5. Okay, but we know that we got to get to level 5 before anything really starts happening. We've always known that. Okay, so that is part of the mall. So what is the mall? The mall is everything. Okay, we didn't know that. So now I'm going to tell you, I'm going to shoot you some updates. I want you to understand the compensation plan that you want to stay away from versus what we have. And we have both. We have a 2x20 structure in 2 spots. Okay. The first spot is the mall. They call it a mirror, but I'm going to say that the 2x20 structure is our first structure in the mall. Then the unilevel is the second structure in the mall. And then I'm going to call the mirror 2x20 is what we have in the third part of the compensation plan. Okay. And if you want to call it the 9751 model, that's what we can call it. All right. Now, what happened and why did we now because what have we been doing? We've always said that the third was the first. Well, it was the first because that's all we had and that's all we could talk about. There was only visions about this mall and what the potential might be, right? Okay. And what the potential income streams could be from this mall, right? Well, we didn't even have, so you got to understand in a startup, you still are in the middle of concept. In a startup, we're still in the middle of concept and we are testing everything before we get to what? To the public. You guys are all pioneers. You guys are all pioneers that are here right now. All 10, 11,000 of you are pioneers that were willing to do what? Risk, yes. Full disclaimer, you are risking the 100, let's just call it $200 for your business. It's not $200 a month. Nope. There is no auto ship. It's $200 one-off. Okay, that's not the exact amount. I'm just using it as a round number for business purposes. It's $200 one-off, and you are done if you came in as an ambassador. That's what we're called now. Why are you ambassador? Because you are fully qualified for the entire compensation plan, and you have 2 underneath you, and we stop right there. Ladies and gentlemen, you have to understand the significance and the power of the fact that you are all in profit already and you haven't even launched to the public. Give me a 1 if you're happy about being in profit already and not launched to the public. With just 2 people, you're in profit. Why do I know that?
Here's my 1. Here's my 1 right here.
Yes, my wife and my daughter and my son. My son is slowly working on his. Okay, we'll get to that. Okay, because he didn't start 16 weeks ago with us. Okay, my wife started 16 weeks ago. My daughter started 14 weeks ago, or 12 to 13 weeks ago. Then the son came in last. Okay, but that's a story for another day. All right, but let's get back to now. Here's what you all got to do now. So I want you to listen very carefully because this is very, very important that you all understand this. First of all, let's talk about now what we know about the mall. And I'm going to read something to you that I put in the Skype room. I'm going to go over here to the Skype room. I'm going to read this to you because not everybody is here that's in the Skype room. Okay. So I'm going to tell you what I read. So this is food for thought, family. And you got to take this to heart and understand what you have in your hands now. E-commerce is a $1 trillion industry started 30 years ago with Amazon and one product. And now you've got eBay, you've got Shopify, you've got Walmart Plus, and so many others. Pay close attention to what we're talking about here. Now, all of these business models have set a tone, and you see tens of millions and literally hundreds of millions of people that are willing to pay Amazon, Shopify, eBay, and many, many others every single month, right? Of course you do. And some of you probably do already, right? If you're using Netflix, if you're using Walmart Plus, if you shop on Amazon, especially Amazon as an example. They have over 200 million people paying Amazon $14.95 a month. Jeff Bezos says, thank you to each and every one of you that helped me start this 30 years ago. And now I'm out. And guess what I didn't do? A business model that decided not to pay you for shopping when they could have. Okay, now, this is what you got to understand. All you got to do is do something and test this. And I tested this at my doctor's office that had 4 nurses and 3 assistants all together at one time. And I asked them simply, do you ladies like to shop? And what do you think they all said? Well, yeah, we shop. And so I said, where do you shop the most? Well, some of them said they shop. So I'll just say it's 10 people. Out of the 10, 2 of them said they shop in their malls that they're close to, that they can drive to within 5 or 10, 20 minutes. The rest of them said they shop online. This is e-commerce. This is what you have in front of you, okay? So remember, the Amazon model, the Shopify model, the eBay model, yes, they got little affiliate things, but there's no real money in it, okay? They've touched that part. We have taken that and exploded it and opened it to the world, to each and every one of you right now, and you have to understand what you've got. So we are going to pay you, and in fact, in your back office, you're being paid right now. In your modules, it shows you how much money you got coming in on the left-hand side, and in the middle, it shows you that you're getting paid from the mall, and it's not even there yet. You are getting paid from the mall in 2 spots. And one of them is bonus money, which is your matching bonuses per level. Okay, now listen. We are going to outgrow all of these business models in the next 5 to 10 years. Why? Because people will always shop. They will always shop. And it's not just women, but it is a lot of women, right? And women do outnumber men. But anyway, we always are going to shop, and we're always going to shop to do what? To get the best quality and save the most amount of money and have the fastest delivery possible. That is the e-commerce business model right now. That, because our business model pays you, your family and friends. Listen again, our business model only is paying you right now, your family, and potentially your friends to shop in your own mall. And they will all come. All you got to do is share it with them. Think about this now. Think about this, because I talked to some people about this, about the fact that I've got a mall down the road from me. And if I wanted to, I could go buy it. And I already know how much it would cost. It's got 225 stores. We're going to have 200 stores in our mall. Okay, I could go buy it. They said 150 million. $150 million. And oh, by the way, yep, you're going to be about 3 to 5 years, because that is the typical business model for brick and mortar, to see a real profit at 90% occupancy. And folks, I know all about this because I've run businesses and I've run commercial properties, and I know what goes on. So that is an exact truth. Now, do I got 150 million? If I did, I wouldn't do it anyway. All right. But I got $200. I got $200. So think about this now. Think about what you would see if you were just the owner of your local shopping mall. You all have them. Envision yourself to be the owner of that mall and how long it's been there. You'll know whether it's new or it's been there 5 years, 10 years. If it's been there 20 years or longer, you know the owners of that mall are making what? Millions. Why not you? So I'm going to tell you the future of e-commerce is right in front of each one of you today. Now, give me a 1 if you're following what we're talking about and you believe what I'm saying. Just give me a 1. Give me a 2 if you're totally lost and you don't. All right. So now I want everybody to know we've already established the fact that 90% of the people are already in profit. That does not change. And there's no more money ever coming out of your pocket ever. You keep this in mind as we're explaining things to you. The people that have been here now, I'm talking to the people that have been with us 16 weeks. A lot of you here are just now starting. So you are actually starting and you're picking up things that you don't know yet, unless you are connected to your leadership who would bring you up to speed. That you're not connected, not talking to each other personally, and not connected to your leadership, shame on you. I'm just going to tell you, I'm going to keep telling you, and I'm going to keep shaming on you, because that's not how you're going to be successful in this business. It is not. Not by emailing, not by texting. I'm telling you, every team that I have underneath me, every team that Gary has underneath him are doing it the same way, belly to belly. They know the people at the top. They know the people below them, but they can pick the phone up and call them. And why? Because those are the people that are already paid in under you versus the ones that are not. I'm going to leave that alone for a second. But listen very carefully now. And you got to write this down. The people that have been with us 16 weeks, week in, week out, we have always been honest. We've always been upfront. And we've always been transparent, and we will tell you the truth as best as we understand the information that comes to us first. And that's why we always tell you, I don't care if you go to 15 different Facebook groups, you go to 15 different Telegram groups, you go to WhatsApp, you go to whatever. Unless you've heard it here from Gary and I, it is all noise. Unless you've heard it from Danielle Dalpay in the official group, and now Denis, who we got to meet last night, and Antonio, who is over all of programming. It's noise. Simple as that. And Gary and I have a direct connection on a daily basis to Danielle, Denis, and Antonio, and I have a very close connection to Antonio, who, yes, is the programmer and running support. That is huge for all of you. Not about me, not about Gary, not about David, not about any of the leaders in general, but it's all about you, because you have to understand what those connections mean for you and I. So where am I going with this, Bob? I'm going down the road to remind each and every one of you that when we started this deal, we had 2 parts of the compensation plan. We had the 9751, and then we had the ability to go to 29,000 from that. What do we know? We know that the 29,000 got removed. Why? Because it was not sustainable. When Antonio took over on October the 15th, the first thing he looked at was that. And he said, guys, no, it's not going to work. Yes, maybe for you as the owners, and yes, maybe for some of us, because we started immediately with the owners, and maybe it'll work for 12 months. Now, how do I know this? I've just told you. I have a direct connection to the programmer himself. And everything that he has told me for the last 2 months has exactly played out verbatim. So I know that he's very capable. I know that he's very truthful, and I know what's in their heart. And Danielle Dalpay, before he closed with us Thursday night, what did he profess, David? You remember what he professed? He professed that he's a man of God himself. He professed that his faith drives this whole deal from concept. He is the one that developed this concept, ladies and gentlemen. Danielle Dalpay 7 years ago came up with a concept to help the many, not the few, and to give it all to us, which is what they're doing. But they also are realists and understand in order for sustainability, look, sustainability is not going to be based on how many people we could reach. Why do we know that? Amazon has got 200 million people, 200 million. I just want 1% of that. But we're going to get 10. Over the next 3 to 5 years, we will get 10% of those people. And where are they going to go? Under all of us. Period. They got nowhere to go. Remember the business model that you have. They will have to fill in the holes that you see right now. So it doesn't matter that you're not balanced. It doesn't matter that your left leg is bigger than your right leg. They will all catch up eventually. So where am I going with this next? Let's go to the next part. Remember that we had what? And everybody was advertising this. $600 a month without recruiting. Remember that, David?
Yep, I do.
And yes, okay, let's talk about that for a second. Yes, in a bigger scheme of things, the reason that they had that in there is because they saw that there's always been a fallacy of people that could not recruit anybody. Well, but here's what the programmer said. First of all, that is in direct conflict to your vision. Well, what does that mean? Well, you just told everybody to embrace the fact that they only have to bring 2, right, David?
Yep.
And now you're going to what? You're going to reward people for not bringing anybody? You're going to pay somebody $600 a month for not bringing anybody? And when they said, they didn't realize that at the moment. But think about that for a second. We embrace the 2 because everybody can bring 2 to this business model. And if you cannot, it's only because you have not learned how to yet running a business. Okay. So they took that part out. Was there people upset? Oh, hell yeah, there was people upset. Can you imagine? Let's go back to the 29,000 real quick. Can you imagine? Do you realize that not one of my leaders, and this was 14 weeks ago, 14 weeks ago, that they decided to take the, well, no, it was October the 15th. So however many weeks ago that, how many weeks ago is that, David? It was 14 weeks. October the 15th.
16 to 18. I started in September or so.
Whatever October the 15th is. They took the 29,000, I said, gone. But lo and behold, nobody said nothing about that. I did. I said, what? I said, ask Gary, he'll tell you. I said, what the hell is going on? Who doesn't want the ability? Because all it was $1,649 a month in expenses jumped to $5,000. And then you jumped from 97.51 to 29 over a period of time. Everything is over a period of time, no matter what it is. So get that in your minds. You're not going to build what you have to make $10,000 a month, much less $100,000 a month in a couple of weeks, in a couple of months. You've got to understand what is going on and what and why it's going on. So they take the 29,000 out, not sustainable. They take the 600 a month without recruiting out, not sustainable. Not sustainable. Okay, so here we are coming up to where we're trying to get everybody in that's got the $45 paid in. And I'm going to repeat myself. You're not going to get 100% of the people to come with you. As simple as that. Gary and I have talked about this, and we've always known that, hey, if we get 50% of the people to pay the 120 in, we're going to be happy campers. And eventually you all will too. Now, does that mean that you stop trying to encourage the people that already invested $45 to not finish the investment and come for the ride? Because that's it. For less than $200 one time, you are in profit with only 2 people under you. And it doesn't matter how long it takes for you to get from level 1 to level 2 to level 3 to level 4 to level 5 and so on and so forth. It does not matter. What matters is to know that day one, when you decide that you're bold enough to reach out and get your first 2 people. And they don't have to be monster builders. They don't have to be builders. They could be family now. We're past that point, especially everybody that's got 5 levels or more people that are coming in right now, and they're not even all paid in. We get that. Okay. That's another part of the conversation for a minute, but I want you to follow with me where we're going with this. Okay. So in sustainability. So let me ask you guys a question first. Profitability, yes. We already know that 90% of us were in profit 6 days ago when we started seeing the commissions. Why? Because we started 14 weeks ago, 16 weeks ago. Okay, now, are there people that may not be in profit yet? There are. All you got to do is look at the bottom of your matrix. All you got to do is go to the very bottoms of each one of your parts of your people, and you'll see that there's people there that have paid in, but they don't have anybody under them yet. Okay, now let me stop right there because I cannot go in my back office because I need to show it to you live, but we're not showing anybody's money because first of all, it's nobody's business. Second of all, it is against the TOS and it's against our terms of service, and it's in our disclaimer that we do not reveal the money in anybody's back office because it's illegal. It's called enticement. All right. I'm not, and I don't have to entice the people that are here. That's not the point. The point is that we are not going to violate our own terms and then wonder why you do. So my point is that each one of you, okay, so what they've done is they've taken your direct referral tree and they've moved it to what they call the matrix. Now that doesn't lay out like a simple 2x20 matrix where you see the blocks and you see 2, then you see the second level and all that, but it is there nonetheless. Now follow with me real close. Your numbers, okay, you don't see your numbers. Okay, you see starting your first level. Okay, right. So the first number that you see is your total number. That's going to be your total number of people below that first level person. Okay, and you know by looking at your team, that tells you how many you have in your team. Now, does that still include some free people? Yes, it does. And so does the number that shows in your matrix. Okay, so we all know first and foremost, the free people will be gone first when things start happening, and they're coming quick now. Okay, then we know that at some point, the people that have paid the $45 in are not going to be left there either at some point. And there will, the countdown timer that you keep hearing about will come, and there will be a countdown for those people to get in. Okay, and then when the countdown timer's gone, they're going to be gone. Now, what happens to the $45? I don't know for sure about that. Okay, but you got to remember, nobody bent anybody's arm. Nobody coerced and put them in a headlock to come with the $45 because our whole purpose was to what? To get them a position. All right. And now in your back office, your profile is working. You got to go to your Frenchie guy or girl. If I don't even know if it's got a girl or I got a guy, and you click on that, and then you'll have a drop down box, and you click on profile. You got to give it a few seconds, and it will pop up, and you will have your profile, which is not the whole profile yet, but that is your profile, and it's going to show you a couple of things. It's going to show your name, and it's also going to show you a timestamp. In all business models that we have that we're using, you have a timestamp. That means that's when you paid your $45. That's what started it. And it gives you a UTC timestamp so that everybody knows that. All right. And then you're not in the matrix. Now, you're not in the matrix until you pay the 120. All right. And so now let's go back to the numbers real quick so I can get through this because you need to know this too. So you're going to have a number that says you got X number total below you. Okay. Then you got 2 other numbers to the right there. Those are your left leg and right leg. That tells you how many people, if it's zeros, let me make it simple. If you got zeros in your left leg and right leg numbers, that means that those people that show up under you, that show a number next to their name, that tells you how many people they've got that are coming in with their 120. And if there's zeros, that means they haven't paid in. And anybody that's got zeros, you've got to look at, especially from the top down, because right now we are not automatic, meaning that everybody that's got a zero, everybody below them, okay, so it doesn't matter if it says 5, 10, 15, 20, 100, 1,000, but if they got zeros for their left leg or right leg, they have not paid in. And that's holding up everybody else in your legs, both of your legs. That is the simple thing that you got to understand. That's what the numbers are. Once again, the number to your immediate right of your name is going to be how many people, including free people, that have yet to come in. Okay. And then, yes, you can count them. You can go and count and get a number. And the number you're counting are the number of people that have now paid the 120. But all you got to look at to the right of that main number, it's got two triangles. One is your left leg, and that tells you how many people have paid in under that individual person yet on their left leg and their right leg. And you add the two together and you'll know. So as an example, let's say your number is 20. Say that person's got 20 people under them in your leg. Okay. If let's say the left leg says 5 and the right leg says 10, add them up. It's simple math. 5 and 10 is 15 minus 20. That means there's still 5 people under them that have not paid the 120. Okay, give me a 1 that you're understanding so far, where I'm going with all this. Give me a 1. Or did I put everybody to sleep? Okay, this is critical that you're getting this stuff. Give me a 2 if I'm totally confused you and you're lost. I wanted to, so because we were there at the numbers, I wanted to complete that first so we can get that out of the way for now. All right, now let's go back. Changes. Again, we've already covered 2 of the changes. All right, now a few days ago, I want to say, oh, well, it was what? Monday, a week ago, Gary? Need your help on this one.
Close enough.
Was it Monday a week ago when we found out that there was a change that we had not been made aware of?
Yeah, I don't even think it's been a week. It's probably been 5 days, maybe.
Maybe 5 days. Okay. And we've been, and what prompted all of this, and some of you know about this, most of you do not yet, but we're going, and this is why we're telling you now. Okay. So what we're telling you is a couple of things, and they're very major that you have to completely understand. Remember, first and foremost, you have to have what? You have to have compliance. Okay. That's why everything switched from the way we were presenting it to now the mall is everything. And once you understand the compensation plans of the mall, you'll understand why that 2x20 is the most important part of your compensation plan now. And then the unilevel is the next most important part. And then the other one, which is not attached to anything but the money, is your third. All right. So what did they change now? And they did. Now let's qualify this. I've told you about changes and how we've been dealing with them, number 1. But if you have not read the policies and procedures, they are in your back office, and you actually checked the box and told Des Alpes that you read them. You checked the box and you told Des Alpes that you read them. Hang on just a second, Gary. Oh, excellent. Excellent. We'll see how we can deal with this in just a second. Joseph's sending us pictures, Gary.
Oh, good.
Take a look at our Facebook senior leadership chat while I'm talking, if you would, please.
I will.
Okay. All right. Now, let's get back to it. I know some of you may be confused, and that is exactly what we do not want. No confusion. You're going to have questions. We understand that.
Outstanding.
You seeing that, Gary?
I'm
Yeah.
gonna grab the. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
you need to
them.
grab some of those pictures and let's take this step by step. All right, policies and procedures. They're on the bottom inside your back office when you first log in. Look to the bottom right, and there are two. It says policies and procedures in English, and there's policies and procedures in French. Okay, go to your back office and read them. Okay, you click on it, and it's a 48-page PDF. And forget about the advertising things now. What I want you to understand is Des Alpes is the owners. They have the absolute right to make changes when they want, to make changes as needed, and to make changes without our permission. I want you all to know that. Okay, now that's not mean-spirited, that's not anything, but that is protecting them from potential liability and lawsuits. That's a business thing. And I guarantee you the policies and procedures, I've read them frontwards and backwards, and I don't know them all verbally, and I will, but I can tell you they were written by attorneys, and these are attorneys that know exactly what they're talking about. So you need to understand those, okay? But first and foremost, for this part of the conversation, they've made changes in the past. We are in a pre-launch. This is a startup. We have not gone to the public, and they will continue to make changes that they believe follows two things. First and foremost, compliance. In order to be compliant, mean legal, we want to be legal in 160 countries, not in just a few. And we want sustainability for each and every one of us, not for a few months or a year or two, but for years to come, like Amazon has been around 30 years. Give me a 2 if you agree to what I'm saying, what Gary and I are saying here, that we got to be compliant. So your reach is 160 countries and not just a couple, not just your backyard. And we want sustainability. So we know that even though we're all in profit and we will never spend another dime that you don't want to spend, that you are going to now start having the capability of building an organization under you with our help and our training that you are compelled to do. Compliance and sustainability is exactly Des Alpes ownership. And Gary and I know this because they were on our call. They answered. Gary, well, at one point there was 150 questions, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Bob,
they did. Gary, did they leave?
No.
They never left. We
You
ran
want
over
these
2
images-
hours.
You want these images in chat?
Just a second.
Okay.
Wait for a second here. I don't want that distracting people. All right. So again, we're getting caught up now. 5 days ago, a change came. So what is the change? Okay. Simply put, that in the third part of the compensation plan now, okay, in order to get to 9751, you see in your back office stars. Okay. That's Ambassador 1, Ambassador 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Some of you are 1 stars, some are 2, some are 3, some are 4, 5, and 6. You see this in your organization. Okay. Simply put, you have to have your 62 at 5 stars each to get there. Now, that's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen in a couple of weeks. It's happening for a certain amount of people right now. Full disclosure, because the people that have been there 16 weeks that already have massive organizations are already getting there. Antonio told me 2 weeks ago that there's a bunch of us that started with him 16 weeks ago, and he has looked at what's going on, and he has seen as all of the people are starting to come into us. Now, I will use the number 10,000, and I will tell you right now, Gary, do we believe that maybe we've got 10% paid in? Maybe.
I think we're probably maybe approaching 15, but probably more likely 12, 13.
Well, let's call it 15%. Hell, let's call it 20%.
Yeah.
Okay, 20%. All right. You can do the math. Okay. The math is simple and it's not simple. All right. So again, this 9751 is not gone. They didn't take it out. Thank God. Give me a 3 thank God that they didn't take the 9751 out of the equation, but they moved it to the third income stream. It is not the first income stream, and it is not the second income stream. So we can get off. Look, the best thing that you can have in front of you is to get off the focus of only money, because only money is not the reason that you're here. Only money is not just the reason that people are coming. You want them to come because you have a mall that you own and you want them to shop. And you are going to be grateful and blessed to be paid. And we're going to have Gary talk about that compensation plan part of the mall in a minute, but he's going to show you some things that you've been wanting to see in just a minute. So yes, it's going to take some time, but no, they could have removed that. Remember, they removed the 27 to 29,000 a month, and nobody got upset about that. Okay, they could have removed that 9751, but they said no. But we have to make it sustainable. So there is no way. I'm going to just break it to you. I can't break it to you gently. There's no way that we can make it sustainable with only 62 people in your entire matrix and be paying everybody $10,000 a month. Now, I will tell you that when Gary and I first found this out 5 days ago, if we'd have found this out, Gary, if we'd have found this out 16 weeks ago, we might have been very distressed, right?
I would think so.
Yeah, I mean, because there was nothing else, really. I mean, come on, let's full disclosure, full honesty, full transparency. That's what you get from Gary and I. We're not hiding anything. We're not going to stand behind anything. We're not going to keep anything from you as long as we have the information. Now, product right there, Joanna, real quickly. And when you watch our presentation, one of the slides shows you very clearly a red arrow pointing from the $100 of your 120 to training. Yes, that is going to become, that is the product. A digital training product is now the product. That's another thing that we got to tell you about. All right. So now, yes, we've set this up. We have got a better plan. Again, these guys are committed to giving us everything out of the compensation plan that they could possibly give us. But at the same time, we are compliant in 160 plus countries, and we are going to be sustainable for the next 30 years. Give me a 3, give me a 10. Give me a 10. Show Gary the love. Show everybody the love. And if this makes sense to you, and that down there, there's reactions. I want to see high fives. I want to see hearts. I want to see thumbs up. I want to see that you understand why this is going to be the biggest, best decision you have ever freaking made in your lives. And now you can help your family, and your whole family's going to shop, and you're going to get paid, and you're going to have a debit card, and you're going to shop in your mall with the debit card, and you're going to get paid for doing that, and you're going to get 1.5% back every month on your debit card for doing that too. Yes. And you didn't spend $150 million to buy a mall with 200 stores in it and wait 5 years to get your money back. No, sir. No, ma'am. Boom. Chakalaka. Gary, to you.
Sure.
Hey, Gary, I'm losing my voice. So I got to take a break.
That's fine. I'm gonna look before we start on the mall compensation, which is my favorite part. I'm gonna put a few pictures in there, Bob.
Wait a minute. I'm being asked, what happens if a person pays the 120 on the 30th of the month, and their 2 people won't pay until the first next month? What's the cutoff date?
Well, that's a tough question.
Well, there's not a cutoff date.
There's not a cutoff
They're
date.
time stamped.
Yeah, there's a time stamp, but there's not a cutoff date
for that. There is a cutoff date for the 15th of January. We got to talk about that too. But
here's our current understanding of how that would work. And it's virtually something that's almost wouldn't affect you anyway. let's say you put your 2 people in on your 31st day of being in. But the compensation plan is set up on 30 days. It would compress over that individual for 1 day, basically. And so there's no money to take until maybe a day later, as an example. You'd actually miss out by a couple days of seeing the 200 go into your bank. That's what would happen in reality. Okay. One of the questions that we get the most is what happens if somebody comes in and they don't get their 2 people in that first month? Basically nothing, because there's no money to take to refresh the 120. So basically it would compress over them for that month, but it gives you another month to help work with them and help them get qualified and get their 2 people at least, or at least one. And so if we can get them past that point, you're past the point of people ever wanting to drop out because they're not reinvesting more money each month. Okay. It's not like an auto ship where you're reaching in your back pocket month after month, but you're not making anything. So it doesn't work that way. I hope that kind of clarifies that for you. Amy, that's a great question. We don't know. We've got a sneak peek just now of the mall itself. We're about to share that in just a minute.
Well, let me answer the part of that. It's a two-part thing. First of all, Antonio has shared with me that we have to be able to what? We have to be able to, our links are hard coded right now, right? For the mall and for the 2x20 matrix, and then for the unilevel. Okay, so everybody that's coming in under you now obviously follows you to the mall, and you see that because you're getting paid. You're getting part of your income in your back office is commissions from people paying in the 120, right? And then you'll look to your right from that, and you'll see money coming in from, and that is from the mall. Okay, the 2 types of income that Gary will explain is part commissions of the mall and then part bonuses from the mall commissions as well. And that adds up to what it shows you total commissions. It's right there in front of you. And then you take your total commissions and you subtract your subscriptions that are adding up. As you go from level to level, your subscriptions will add up. Okay. But to the left of that, you'll see your points. Okay. So if you've gone through 5 levels for the month, you'll see 240 points sitting there. Those 240 points are also put into the mall. Then you also see 25 points that Des Alpes has given everybody to use in the mall, and that will be every month. And you can use them or you'll let them add them up. Okay, back to you, Gary.
All right, Scott, it works like this. I realized the way that it was set up was initially when you paid the 120, 20 went for Alpes points. But if you look on level 1, there's 10, and level 2 is 10. Okay.
Yeah, Scott's asking that same question right now. So yeah.
So here's what happens, Scott, is that initial $20 out of the 120 was split between level 1 and level 2, which kept your expense on level 2 to be a flat 200. Remember, you made 200, which was covered. So that covers your level 2 instead of being 220 coming out. It equaled out so you didn't pull any money out of pocket. So that's how they designed it. Now, level 3 is $30, level 4 it's $40, and level 5 $50 that are in your Alps points. Thank you, Dave. So it took me a second to realize what they were doing, but we realized this here a few days ago how that worked out. The slide is correct. In other words, they took $20 out of the 120 they split the Alps points 10 and 10 on the first two levels. That's how they worked it out. Okay. So we're going to go into the mall compensation, but I'm going to go ahead and give everybody a sneak preview of the mall. Would everybody want to see what the mall looks like?
Oh, heck yeah, we want to see.
Come on, guys. We got to say, yeah, I'm going to need some yeses here before I'm going to do it.
Yeah, everybody's been waiting to see what you're going to be able to get access to in the mall. So remember again, you first and foremost, each one of your people are in profit with only two people. Okay, there's no other business that I know of that can claim that, and that we build it this way. They are in profit immediately with their two people, and so on and so forth. That is not changed. Okay, so Scott, again, your 62 people have to be at 5 stars, all right, in order to get to that level. Okay, and that's why they moved it to the third compensation plan, not the second and not the first, because they're moving funds into the unilevel like they've already done and into the main part of the mall compensation plan, because you have to be compliant first of all and foremost. So products, you got to be selling products. This is e-commerce. You cannot be enticing people to join. We cannot use as a matter of fact, just telling people, well, it's $200 and then you're going to make $97.51. Okay, that sounds great, but it's not legal. We only had that 14 weeks ago to talk about because we didn't have what we have now. They didn't make the changes until they've made the changes over the last 16 weeks. Okay, so every change they've made is compliance and sustainability. Now, let Gary explain why the 2x20 for the mall is going to be the most important thing and your money maker to begin with, and then go from there. Go ahead, Gary.
All right. I could actually pull a slide up and make it might be more visual if you'd like.
Well, as long as it's about the mall.
We're only going to do the mall one.
No, because that's the way we have to present it. If you, matter of fact, if you take the the reason we switched from the third is the third now and not the first is because it was okay in the United States, not okay in Canada, okay, and not okay in a lot of countries.
So, can everybody see my screen?
Finally, Alpes has come up with. See, we've been trying to do this on our own, guys and gals, you know, and we're all learning and understanding as we grow together. But just keep it in mind that the only thing that matters is three things. Number one, that the majority of your people, including yourself, are already in profit, and you'll never spend another dime. Number two, that we are fully compliant in 160 countries. If you don't have compliance, you're not going to get 3 months down the road, and it doesn't matter how long it might take you to get to $10,000 a month with just the third income stream. It doesn't matter to me. Doesn't matter to Gary, because if we're not compliant, we're not going to last 6 months. Everybody should know that. Everybody should understand that. If you're not totally compliant, you will not make it 6 months down the road. We've seen that time and time again. And then sustainability. Okay, sustainability is only relevant normally to who? The owners and the top 3%. Man, just give us 12 months. Man, just give us 12 months and we can all get rich. And then who gives a shit what happens? Sorry, my French, but that's a fact. Okay, that is then, this is now, and that's not what these guys are about. And that's definitely not what Gary and I are about. We are going to be compliant. and we are going to be for the many, and we're going to have sustainability, because I want this for my family who's all in this. Okay, which means your family can be all in it, appropriately done, right? We don't have to keep covering that. That should not have to be covered anymore. All right. But we want it to last for years. We want it to last for years. And if that doesn't make sense to the majority of people here, I'm sorry, but that's exactly how we are dealing with it. And hopefully it does make sense to the majority here. All right, Gary.
All right, guys. Everybody ready for a breakdown?
Let's go.
All right. We have, this is called a hybrid. And it's a hybrid because the same people are in both matrices. Okay. So we're gonna tackle the 2x20 first. Now remember, as people within your group upgrade, Alpes points will continually go into their mall banks just like it does ours. So how much money through 5 levels in Alpes points, if you're an ambassador 5, is going into your mall bank? Come on, guys. Now, Bob, I can't see the chat, so you'll have to watch that for me.
Yeah, I got it.
Your mall bank, ambassador 5, how many Alps points went into your back office? Notwithstanding the 25 that the company will put in there for you.
One person only said 50, so they must not be getting it.
They're not getting it.
Nope.
All right, so let me break it down real quick. Level 1, ambassador 1, has 10 Alps points plus 25 the company gave him.
And then, hang on a second. Hang on. The 25 points are clearly there. They're in 2 spots. They're at the very top right-hand corner next to your balance. And again, that is your balance. Okay. So you don't, so wonderful, wonderful. If you didn't figure it out, now we don't have to, as long as you don't change what's in automatic now, when we go live, you will have the opportunity to put it in manual. I suggest you don't ever touch it now. Why? Because all of us have had all of our expenses taken out. And so now all we got to do is look at the top right corner, and that's the balance. And that balance is updated live every day, 24/7, except for some of the things that are getting ready to happen that we will cover. But go ahead, Gary.
Okay. So level 2 is 10 Alps points. So we've got 10, 10, and 25, right?
Hey, Gary, I'll be right back.
Go ahead. Level 3 upgrade, ambassador 3, is 30 Alps points. Because why? Our expenses is $330, $30 of that goes to your Alps points. Ambassador 4, $440, $40 more went into your bank in Alps points. And then ambassador 5 or level 5 upgrade was $550. So you have a 50, a 40, a 30, a 10, and a 10 plus 25, right? So 50, 40 is 90, 120, 140. We've got 165 in Alps points. So what does that mean? That means Alps point is $1 per point. Okay? $1 per point. I want you to see if what I'm saying is correct. I was informed that the minimum per person average would be $3.50 to $5. $3.50 being the very minimal possible. Okay. Now, since we haven't gone through and the mall's not open until February 1st, give or take, we can only speculate that to be very accurate at this time. So we're going to use the example of having 1,000 people within your force 2x20 because it makes it easy math. It will take a little while to get there, but not very long. Okay. I'm going to say we're going to downplay it and lowball the numbers for you. Okay. We're going to say 1,000 people, and we only can make $3 per person in that group. Would everybody agree that's an easy number to figure out, guys?
Okay. Hey, Gary, let me preface something real quick
Go
with
ahead.
that.
Go ahead.
Okay. You got to remember one most important thing. Again, I'm going to repeat myself 1,000,000 times if I don't repeat myself once. With the first two people, everybody on this call are in profit. No more out of pocket.
Correct.
You cannot stress that enough. Okay. Because that means that the only time that you're going to spend money of your own is on your discretion, not on the company's discretion or by force. Okay. So understand that first and foremost. And so then when Gary's talking about 1,000 people, okay, yes, I get it. There's a lot of people on this call that are just getting started with us that don't have 1,000. Yes, you don't, because you're just getting started. Or maybe your team hasn't grown as fast. But the fact is that in 16 weeks, Gary and I have over 10,000 people. All right. And we only have our two. What does that mean, ladies and gentlemen? That means that there are leaders upon leaders that have hundreds of people under us that have been building for 16 weeks, that have 500 people under us that have been building for 16 weeks or 14 weeks or 12 weeks. I can backtrack it and show you the people that have been with us for 16 weeks that are our senior leaders have thousands, yes, but they've been doing this for 16 weeks. And is that phenomenal in itself? It's mind-boggling. Okay, but they all only started with two people. These are just regular people, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, and what do you know? You know that Amazon's got 280 million people to go after. Go after them now. They price compared everything that you're going to see that Gary just showed you against Amazon, and we are cheaper. And Amazon is not going to pay you. They're not going to pay you.
That's the truth.
All right, Gary, go back. Go ahead.
Okay. So using our model of having, saying exactly 1,000 beneath us, having two sponsored, of course, and we're going to minimize the numbers. So, folks, what's $3 per person times 1,000? Come on, guys. This is easy math. We made this simple math. $3,000, right? 3,000. So we're going to take the same people, the same exact people, and they're going to come into our unilevel, and we're going to base the same number. Here I am right here. In my first two positions, I only have those two right at the current time. I can build these later, okay? But right now, I only have these two. That's one is Bob and the other is Robert. Based on Bob and Robert having 1,000 people, right? They're making what? How much are each of these making from over here? Based on 1,000 people, that's $3. Not $3.50, not $5, but $3. How much is Bob making off his 2x20? And how much is Robert? Remember, they have the same amount of people. 3,000, right? But let's lowball it. Let's just say, let's say they only made 1,000 because they're one level down, right? It's not likely to be that low, but let's use that as an example. So if they're making, if Bob over here is making 1,000 and Robert over here is making 1,000, and the company's going to pay me 50% of what they make in a matching bonus, that's how unilevel works. How much am I making off Bob and Robert? $1,000. Correct. Right? Now, here's my question for you guys. We'll show you, see how shocked everybody is here. Would you rather be making 50% matching bonus off your top 2 people or 10% off your 5th level? Five. Okay. Bruce is on top of it. 10%, right? So here's why, guys. Level 2, I get 20%. There's 4 people on these 2 levels underneath Bob and Robert. That's 8. That's going to be $800, right? 800 more. Now, if I get to my 3rd level, we start at 10%. So at that point, 16 people making $1,000, right? 16 people make $1,000. That's 1,600, right? Let's watch what happens as we follow this down. We get to level 4, right? Level 4, we're going to make 10%, right? But when we get to level 5, that's 32 people on level 5, folks. 32 people making $1,000 a month, and I get 10% of that. How much did I make on that level alone? 3,200. So when I add all this up, it's actually paying me much more than I'm making in my 2x20. So when I combine these 2 incomes, right? And this is what I want you to see and get the picture in your mind, that when we combine this, this is our consistency while we're building what? Our other 2x20 that you see, that you're going to get 97, 51 and all that, right? This is your foundation that allows you to build that over there, but your profit right up front, all your money's stacked in here. Okay? Can everybody see that? Anybody confused over any of that? Give me a 2 if you're confused, or a 1 if it's really clear. Well, Cheryl, what part's confusing? Because I'll go back and we'll really dig into it for you. Cheryl, go ahead and repost. Okay, Wanda's confused too. So let's go back over it. Are you only confused on the unilevel, or are you confused on the 2x20 parts? Oh, Cheryl, it's the same people. The people that are in your 2x20 matrix, all 3 matrices that are being used have the same identical people in them. Yeah, I will, Scott. Give me a second. Let's make sure everybody's clear on this first.
Jesus.
Okay? So the people that are in your 2x20 are also in your unilevel, same people. Okay, the calculation part, on which side? On the unilevel side or the 2x20 side? Now, want to realize that I'm lowballing the numbers as hard as I can. Remember over here, personally, I've got 1,000 people here, right? And we use the figure of $3 per person rather than $3.50 to $5. We lowballed it as much as we could. So the 2x20 is paying us $3,000. Now, based on that same number of people that are going over here, I could have used the figure of 3,000 as my baseline, and it would make sense to you. But I cut it in by a third to make the numbers easier to see. Okay, so I've got two personals. One's Bob, and one's Robert. If they only make $1,000 each over here from their 2x20 from the mall itself, okay? So Bob makes $1,000 that month, and Robert makes $1,000 that month instead of $3, like I'm already showing. Then I will get $500 each from each of them because I get what? 50% matching bonus on the first level. Direct level number 1 pays me 50%. Now, when we drop down to the second level, now Bob has 2 people, Robert has 2 people, so it's 4 people. Right? 4 people. Now, if they make $1,000 a month, I'm making 200 matching bonus off each individual. That turns to be $800. Right? So when I get to level 3, that number, the 10% number, is going to be 8 people, right? 8 people with $1,000, and I get 10% of that, right? Is what? I'm sorry, that's 16. I'm sorry. So you can see how the numbers are going to work. Each level, you double 1,600. But when you get to level 5, now it's 3,200. Why? Because it's 32 people making $1,000 a month, and we get 10% of that. Now, realize that we're basing this off of where I'm at making 3,000. I lowered this as hard as I could because I wanted the numbers to be not only feasible, but you could see that the numbers in all likelihood would be much higher than I'm showing you. Correct. Level 1 is 50%. Okay. Level 2 is 20% matching. 3, 4, and 5 are 10%. And yet the 10%, because of the volume of numbers, is more powerful than the 50%. At this time, anyway. Okay. So I could have used the figure of each of these making 3,000. These numbers would get really stupid. I didn't feel I wanted to do that. But realistically, what I'm showing you with 1,000 people, your payout would be much higher than I'm actually showing you. Okay? It's just nature of the beast. Okay.
And you got to remember, folks, yes, this is approved. What Gary is showing you, I hadn't even seen yet, Gary.
Yeah.
I know this came to us last night. So again, changes are, there's terminology. If you've been involved in law enforcement on a crime scene, you'll hear somebody say everything is fluid right now. Everything is fluid. Okay. We are fluid right now. Okay. Meaning that everything is flowing at the same time. It's all live. Again, the majority of people with us still it's hard to wrap your head around the fact that because normally, remember how you get paid normally. Let's go back real quick for this. It might help perspective. Normal network marketing MLMs only pay you once a month. Some pay you once a month and once a week, but most pay you only once a month. And again, that's from you paying them every month up front. Then you get paid. That is not this. We get paid. Every one of us here gets paid every day. And your back office is in real time, 24/7. And it's almost 100% real time. Is it 100% real time yet? No, because we're not 100% automatic yet, but we are very close to that. So it will be when it goes 100% automatic and it's daily pay, that is in real time, 24/7. So, you know, what's the old Warren Buffett slogan, Gary? If you're not making money when you sleep,
You're not making money.
if you're not making money while you sleep, you're going to die working at your job.
Yeah.
If you listen to this very carefully, this is an exact thing that you can apply to what you have also in front of you, that you get paid every day in real time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's your balance. In the top right-hand corner is your balance right now. And it's not exact. And we know that there's been a message in the back office ever since we got our back office that's telling you numbers are going to come in, numbers are going to go out, things are going to fluctuate, and we are testing and testing and testing. We are the pioneers. We are getting, we're for lack of better words, Gary, what, guinea pigs, so to speak?
Yeah.
Being tested on. But I can tell you from my conversations directly with Antonio for the last 8 weeks in a row now, everything that's happening is happening at 100% truth. Okay? Does Antonio tell me when there's issues and hiccups and stuff that we're dealing with? Absolutely. Does Antonio allow me to have the capability of taking information from our senior leadership team and funneling it to him and him addressing exact problems 100%? No, problems are not being 100% yet. They're working on that. I don't care what company you've been with. If you've been with a company for 5 years, you know for a fact that they still have problems with customer service if they answer you at all. I've never seen the level of customer service already in a true startup that we're at, much less have the guy that's the actual programmer, and he's the lead programmer. There are other programmers. He is the guy, like the admin of the programming side of the business. Okay. And he's doing customer support, answering customer support tickets. Why? Because a lot of it right now is directly tied to what? Programming and things around the programming. See, there's 10,000 people with us, and probably 9,000 of the people right now under Gary and I have never been involved in a true startup, and you would have not seen any of this. Right, Gary?
Yeah.
Yeah. A handful get to be involved in a startup. Just leaders get to be involved in a startup. You guys are right now so special, you haven't no clue or idea what that means yet. Okay, so yes, things are fluid, things are changing. We're going to cover things, but I want Gary to get through this slide anyway. Sorry, Gary.
You're okay. So at this point, any questions on the hybrid, too much money and unilevel? Now, I do want to clarify something on this.
Hey, before you do that, Gary, please.
Yes.
Lucretia's got a question in there that you need to address.
So
I will say one thing before Gary does. If you must be, I'm going to say, just guessing, because I don't know who you are, which is no big deal right now. But you must be brand new. But in order to be in the pre-launch, you should have had 2 people with you, and that you do, because that is a requirement of the pre-launch that we're still in. You are in profit. You are already making money. But go ahead, Gary.
all right, what happens if you're not making money while you sleep? My dad said it best, second best. He told me long ago when I was maybe 12, 13 years old, actually, that if you don't work for yourself, the most you could ever accumulate in this life is a house and maybe a car and possibly a second car. That's the maximum achievement working for somebody else that can happen for you. Okay? To go beyond that, you had to be in business for yourself. Because if not, you're fulfilling what? Somebody else's dream, right? Somebody else's dream, not yours. Okay. There's a couple other things that I remember his father telling me. His father, my grandfather, passed away when I was 8 years old. He was a very young man. He was only 59 at the time he passed away. And at the time he passed away, he had a ton of real estate. He had a contract from Coca-Cola to go into what is now called Belize as the only person allowed to bring into Belize something other than a local beverage. And he never got to do it because he passed away before the contract was signed. It lacked only his signature, not theirs. And at the time, he owned probably 3,000 acres, 300,000 acre tract in Belize, British Honduras at that time, which ended up being bought out by Minute Maid. But the point of my grandfather's stories was one thing was, and there's actually a park named after him in down in Lake Worth, Florida. But he said, he told me a couple stories. I never forgot this. Back in the 60s, what would be the difference between a man that had $1 million and a man that had $10 million? Anybody know? What is the difference? And you could apply today's dollar figures in a different way. So the numbers would change if you wanted to base it today. Okay. Well, basically, can the man with $10 million buy a better house, a better grade of steak, a better grade of clothes? No, he can't. They don't make a better grade of steak just because you got $10 million. No, not freedom, status. The only difference is status. It's a mindset. Okay? When you reach a certain point, there's no difference in what you can accomplish. So you have to have you have to have some driving force that drives you that's bigger than you. Okay? Bigger than you. In other words, maybe for me, veteran causes would be important and be close to my heart. For my wife, children cancer, St. Jude's Hospital or something like that is important to her. Because you only have so much beyond your own family members and making sure they're taken care of. Now, the other thing that my grandfather used to say about money, and I want everybody to remember this, because this is important. He said money is a lot like cow manure. Anybody know why that would be true? Why would money be like cow manure? Come on, guys, have a little fun with this. No. Because if you spread it around, it does a lot of good. But if you pile it up in one place, it stinks to high heavens. Come on, you gotta have a little fun with that one. See, if you do good with what you have, it comes back multiplied. if it's all about green, it's about you, there's nothing good to come of that. Spread it around. Make sure your children and your grandchildren have a better life than you had, right? Or take care of the special causes that are important to you. Find your reason, your big reason. Because when you reach the point of having more money than you have bills, what's going to drive you to keep building? It won't be money, because you already have enough to take care of what you need. When you go past 10,000 a month, 20,000 a month or more, what is it that you can't afford to do? You sure can afford another car. You sure can afford the roof over your head. What's going to drive you to keep pushing and building, guys? Well, you already got freedom when money-wise, you got freedom. Helping others is a good answer. That's a good answer. Okay? Okay, guys, I think we're done with the matrix and the unilevel. Lambo collection. Lordy. Oh, Lordy. All right, guys. I think we're done with now. I do want one more clarification. The 2x20 mall matrix is paid monthly. The unilevel will be paid as they get their monthly, will be paid daily, immediate payout. It's paid out when they get theirs. Okay? Mark, our focus is we're building the whole team at the same time, all 3 compensation plans. So we're not doing it different. Our focus has changed. Okay? Our focus has changed.
Hey guys, again, you have to reflect back to the fact that there would not be 10,000 people in a startup. There never is. So you would be you probably, these are great questions, you all, but you would not be seeing this. What you would be seeing was that we went to the public, and then that's when we started actually building underneath our leaders. And then you would see the finished product, maybe some minor tweaks here and there. Okay. But again, you all are traveling along with us through the angst, and just what you need to really understand and put into perspective is that, yes, you've got some time in here. There's a lot of us that have been doing this. I've been doing this. Gary and I've been doing this for 5 months. And you can ask my wife, and she'll tell you that I've been working this 7 days a week, 12-hour days, 7 days a week for the last 5 months. That's how serious I am about this. And that's why my family's in this.
My wife thinks I'm a widow, or she's a widow.
And Gary has been fighting with his health, fighting tooth and nail. Gary has been fighting tooth and nail with his personal health and his wife's health, and running 2 brick and mortar businesses at home, and trying to help with what you're seeing, because he is the face of the presentation. I'm just a guy that's trying to I don't know, entertain you. Yes, I've got some facts, right? I've got facts, and that's what we're trying to share with you, but Gary is the one that started building the relationship with the Alpes before I got to be involved in that even. Okay, so just you got to put this in perspective. You've got $200 in this. Let's just call it like it is. You only have $200 in this, period. There's nobody that can say any different. Number one. Number two, as long as you got two people under you, you're already in profit. And if you never did anything else, you're already in profit. Number three, and more importantly than that, you don't have millions of dollars of your personal money in this, and the risk of your family's lives and fortunes in this, and 7 to 10 years of this. You have to put that into perspective, or you don't, and you don't care about that. And if that's the case, I get it too. But the bottom line is, there is nobody here, including me, especially me. I've done no paid advertising. Everything that we've done is by the book, the way we've taught it, without any paid advertising, all the way to this point. No paid advertising, no spillover, no none of this. And yeah, that slide shows 5 across, okay? And we've been building it the way we build it. We haven't changed, because your foundation is 2 and 62. And then once you've got your 5 levels of people, which is 62 with 32 on your 5th level, then you will start using your own link, and then sponsor the world. We don't care. That started. It's in the TOS, 5 levels. Even Donnie had to have his 5 levels. You know, I'm just telling you what it is versus what it's not. Okay. So perspective. Let's put it into perspective. Yes, you've got time in this. Yes, the ones that are here that can be here want to be here, and they're serious. I applaud you. Okay. And the ones that can't be here, and they'll see the recording, but they need to see the recording because there's too much information in here that they need to see and hear. Okay. But let's get real. Let's get really real with each other. You don't have $2,000 in this. You don't have 10,000, 50,000, 100,000. You got $200. That's it. And you know, by our own omission, that we told you every time Gary does a presentation, we have what in our presentation? A full-blown, complete disclaimer. And that disclaimer is to protect us, Gary and I, as well as it is to protect you all building your business. So if $200 is too much of a risk, you shouldn't be here to begin with. I just want to make that very clear. If $200 is too much for you to be here, then you shouldn't be here. And if $200 is going to make you be totally concerned, now listen very carefully what I'm going to tell you. I am not telling anybody here that there's no concerns to be had, because it's your reputations. And you all know who I'm talking to. It's our reputations. We've got 10,000 people depending on our reputations. Okay. And they've got 20,000, 15,000 people now, maybe, depending on their reputations. And they have all exposed themselves, literally exposed themselves to all of us. And we know where they live. All right. But all I'm saying to you before we get, because we got to get back to the updates, but all I'm saying to each and every one of you, and I want every leader that hears my voice right now to pass this on. If $200 is a problem for you, don't do it. Stop. Don't let your people do it. I don't care if you got 10,000 people under you that haven't started paying. I'm being dead freaking honest with you. If you think that $200 is too much of a risk, then you shouldn't be in this to begin with. Okay? Yep, you got questions. I got questions, obviously. I got questions. Gary got questions, and we will get our questions, and we do get our questions answered. And everything that we have been told has been the truth. And every time something has changed, we have caught up with the changes, and we deliver the changes to you. And all the changes are all based on only 2 things. I'm going to repeat myself again. Compliance first and sustainability second. $200, that's it. We're going to be compliant. We're going to be sustainable. And we are going to give each and every one of you the opportunity, whether you started today or you started 16 weeks ago to not just be into profit, but to build something very special? Back to you, Gary.
All righty. So, guys, I think we've covered the two pieces of the hybrid structure. Now, most of you are used to the 2x20 that we focus on our first 5 levels, right? Realizing that all 3 of these are built from the same people, okay? Same people, okay? That being said, by using the mall structure and our money being here allows us to do what? It allows us to develop the third matrix, the third 2x20, right? Because of the money coming in from the mall product side, it sustains us and profits us enough while we're building to develop this correctly, to develop it all the way through to what? Our 5 levels having their what? Develop their own 5 levels. Right? Now, what is the overall potential? And I've said this before a few times. Bob, how many people did we have 3 weeks ago? Total.
3 weeks.
3 weeks. 3 weeks back.
Well, since we're growing at 400 to 500 a week now for the last 2 weeks, what, 5,000?
We had it may even it might have been 4 weeks ago, but 3.5, 4 weeks ago we were at 2,300. That was our magic number at the time.
That's true.
Okay.
That's true. Yeah, magic number. Yes, that's correct.
For us, and the reason I'm bringing this up, guys, I want to show you what can happen and likely will happen when you reach that stage. And we have a couple of senior leaders that are double that, but we have one that just now reached that this week. And so that's why I'm going to bring this up. We moved from 2,300, give or take 3.5 weeks ago, couldn't even be edging into 4. In the last 4 weeks, the growth has accelerated for us to 11,000 people from 2,300 people. So what I want to show everyone is when you hit what we call that momentum shift, okay? And it may be a different number for different people. For us, it was 2,300. It could be 2,000. It could be 2,500. But you'll reach what we call momentum shift. Okay? And that momentum shift today, I do not even have to look at my back office when I get up because I already know what the number is going to be almost within 10 or 15 people. I know how much I've increased today while I slept. While I was asleep, I already know how many people I've gained, right? So, folks, I want to have a little fun, particularly for new people. I want to show you your why. I want to show you a piece of your why. How many of you have children or grandchildren on the call? Give me a 1 if you have children or grandchildren. How important is it for each of you to make sure their life is better than you had it? Give me a 2 if that's important to you. Right? See, nobody knows quite where I'm going with this yet. So I want you to set I want you to do this for me. I want you to put on your refrigerator on a magnet. I want you to write the number 2300 and put it on a magnet on your refrigerator. Okay, there's a reason I want you to do this. We know that's when we hit, I'd like to say, explosive growth. Okay, explosive growth. So some of you know that we're growing at 500 people plus a day, right? So in a month's time, how many people do we gain every month going forward if we have no further growth other than what we already are at? Ernest, you're missing a zero. We're gaining 500 a day. 15,000, folks. Kimberly got it first. Beverly's right there. So here's my question. If all you made, and let's say we didn't even have 11,000 there already, we just gained the 15,000, and you make $3, not $3.50, not $5 off your mall matrix. What's your income, folks? Will that change your children's life and your life and your cousin's life and your sister-in-law's life, or anything that's important to you? Folks, if you don't stick this magnet on your refrigerator, you're cheating yourself. Okay? Write these numbers down. 2300, circle it. Write down 500 a day, circle it. 15,000 new members per month, circle it. Make it your goal to build to those levels.
Hey, Gary.
Yes.
So let's backtrack because there's a lot of people that aren't here from 16 weeks ago.
Right.
Just for perspective. 16 weeks ago, when Gary and I first met on this project, Gary brought it to me. It was brought to him. And so we are partners. When I say partners, we're partners with Des Alpes. Okay. Gary and I and Mark Chin and Jim Ogles are partners. Yeah. And then we have 4 master distributors, and then we have the ownership team. Okay. And of course, Danielle Dalpay is president of Des Alpes, and he is one of the owners, and he is the creator of the concept of all of this from very many years ago. So 4 years ago, they got very excited when they started putting together their leadership team. When Danielle started building his leadership team, including the master distributors. And so, and all the master distributors and admins are in this business, which is totally unheard of. Okay. Now, when I say in the business, they are literally in the business. Okay. That means, yes, they're owners. Now, normally owners are in the background. Okay. And you don't get to know who they are because they don't have to tell you who they are. First of all, so everybody that has a problem with not knowing who the owners are for a $200 one-time investment, I don't know what to tell you, but they don't have to tell you who they are. Okay. Not point number one. But the biggest point here is that this whole concept started 10 years ago. Fast forwarded to 7, fast forwarded to 4, fast forwarded to now on October the 15th, when we were supposed to launch, a big cog got thrown into the mix and they lost their programmer. It doesn't matter why. They lost their programmer, had to go find another one, and they were blessed with finding Antonio right there, actually in their own backyard. One of our biggest team leaders with David is actually one of David's team leaders, okay? Because David and his team leaders have well over 5,000 people. They are the biggest team leader I have under me, and I've got over 10,000. Okay, so my point though being is that you have to understand that all of this has been totally designed to be of benefit to all of you first, and that's why we built it that way. Forget that screen shows it's a beautiful picture, and I see why it looks as good as it looks, but yes, it shows 5 across. For this is for demonstration purposes. You got to remember, that's what a PowerPoint does. A PowerPoint is the static thing that tells you how. Okay, then we have to teach you how, right? Based on what the plan puts out there. Okay, and that's what we're doing now. Okay, and again, you got to remember the one and most important thing. You would not, none of you would be here right now. We're not even having this conversation in a normal startup. You wouldn't have seen none of this until we were getting ready to actually maybe within 30 days of launching to the public. Okay. So again, everybody that's been with us for 4 months, 5 months now have gone through the angst of what we've gone through. And so have the owners. And the owners are the ones with the biggest angst, because this has got to work for them and their families. If this doesn't work for them and their families, obviously it doesn't work for us. But again, I've got to stay on the premise of what is really the investment here. Yes, time. And those that are serious have already 16 weeks ago have been building their teams over time. And that's how David got to over 5,000. That's how Gary and I have got to over 10,000 with just 2 people. Duplication as a process, because the simple thing that we teach, and this as a static, right? The PowerPoint. So just keep this all in mind, because again, you have to understand that you all are pioneers and are in the forefront of the most biggest event that the world does not know about yet. The world does not know who we are yet, but they will. And so will thousands and thousands of other business owners that continually are using the old business model. And some of them have come to Gary and I and are already finding out and they want to learn it from us to restructure their own businesses. Yes, but that's not going to happen. This is des Alpes, and this is ours, and now it is yours, and we are here to protect each and every one of you. Okay, Gary, yeah, we need to wrap this up so I can get to the rest of the updates.
We do need to wrap up.
So yeah, we're 2 hours into this.
All right, I'm going to stop the share right here. There we go. The new pictures are in the chat somewhere back there.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Now, some very, very detailed things that you need to know, and I got to go find them so I can read them to you. Scott, anybody that was asking for the PowerPoint, Gary was showing, but it is not completely approved yet. Okay. So until it is completely 100% approved, it will not go into distribution, not from us. Just so that you know. There's some tweaks that have to be done to it. We have been presented that. We know that from Danielle and Denise themselves, but they wanted us to see what they've come up with based on what we're doing, based on what they're doing. Okay, because again, we got to be compliant, and we all have to be on the same page. I'm sure that everybody understands that. So they were posted by Patrick Tuttle. Yeah. That's Gary's AKA Gary Afron, also known as Patrick Tuttle. Okay. All right. So because things come at us hot and heavy, let's review some things. Okay. Let's review some things right now. So January the 15th is the next critical date. Okay. There's 2 major things going to happen on January the 15th. The first thing is the $45 for 12 months of your back office is over starting January the 16th. Okay, that's over. All right. And we're not going to answer questions. Well, what if? It's over. Okay. So just know that. All right. And what if somebody that's paid the $45 ain't got the 120 in? We're not going to talk about the what ifs. You know, all I'm going to say to you is if you do not know the people below you to your first 5 levels, I can't help you. And that you're not in contact with them, I can't help you. I preached this for 5 months. Have I not, Gary?
Yes.
I preached this for 5 months. So, Bobby King, there's a message in the back saying something about the 31st. Oh, okay. There probably is. We'll get to that. So January 15th, the $45 for 12 months is gone. But all of us that have paid the 120 are grandfathered for the life of the business. All of us have paid the 120 are grandfathered for the life of the business. So you've got 4 days. 4 days. Okay. Now, the people that have paid the $45 haven't paid the 120. Okay, we're not in automatic. And I'm going to repeat myself because there's still people that don't understand what I'm saying to you. And I'm not going to show you my back office because I have no way to show it to you live and block out numbers. We're not going to, because your balance is on every page. I wish that wasn't so. If it wasn't, I could show you some things, but I cannot. But you will have to understand what I'm talking about. Okay. So what you see in your back office, there's 2 things. You see a direct referral tree, which is all the people that were coming in paying the $45. Okay. But you also see free people in there. Those free people are going to be gone. So forget about the free people, but they are in your number totals on your matrix button. Okay. When you go and you press your matrix button, it shows you your direct referral tree, but it is an upgraded version of that because it shows you it doesn't show you your total numbers. It shows you starting with your first level, and it shows your first level people. Okay. Your first level, okay, shows at the top and then at the bottom. Okay. So your first level. So my first level is my wife, and I see her, and then I have to go all the way to the bottom to find out where my second level starts. Okay. But now let's talk about your first level. You only got 2 people. So you know that those people are paid in, right? That moves you to level 1. Now your second people, your second level, that's 4 people. Okay. So starting with your second level, look at the numbers of each one of those individuals on your second level. Because this is where it's going to start. You're going to start seeing this. Some of the reasons why you're not seeing any money yet, possibly, is right there. So people on your second level, each individual will have a number to the right of their name. That also includes free, but that's not important. What is important is the 2 numbers to the right of that number. Okay, there's 2 numbers to the right of that number, and one of them is your left leg, and one of them is your right leg. And if it says zeros, that means that the people below them, which is that number, have not paid yet. And I see plenty of that. That's easy to see. Once again, the people below you, starting with your second level, okay, now you're looking for who's paid on your third level and fourth level under your second level, right? Because you know everybody that's got more than 1 level right now, more than 2 levels, have got people that have people on levels. You remember, the matrix overlaps. You can see it. You can see this. The main number is the total amount of people under that person. If that matrix was wide open and you could see the total number of people under that. Okay? Their first level, their second level, their third level. The left and right legs are to the right of that number. And you'll see some of them say 1, some say 5. It doesn't matter what they say, add them up. 0 plus 0 is 0. And so let's just say a person's number is 10. Okay, that means that they've got 10 people under them, but nobody on the left leg or right leg has paid their 120 yet. That is a problem. So yes, all of you that keep sending me stuff, I got receipts. Well, of course you got receipts for the people that have paid in. What you don't have is the people that have people under them that your left and right leg still shows zeros. That means none of those people have paid in yet. And that means the first level of those people haven't paid in. So the second level of those same people cannot pay in. And that is standard throughout your entire downline. And I see people with lots of zeros. I need you to understand that. Give me a 1. Give me a 2 if you don't understand what I'm talking about. Paid the $175 per year admin fee. What? There is no $175 per year admin fee. Francisco. Okay, anyway, let me get back to this. I'm not getting any response, so have I dumbfounded 100 of you?
Oh, he's just putting a suggestion in, Bob.
A suggestion?
Yeah, he's right. Here's what's going to happen. Hasn't happened yet, but it will. It'll all be one payment going forward.
Yes, it's already set up. I'm not. I haven't got to. You got to start. You got to stay with me where we're at, because you are slowing down yourself and everybody above you that's below you, because you've got people that have not paid in below you. It's very obvious. You have to understand what you're seeing. And if you don't, go to your leader. Everybody has a leader, an upline leader. Go to your leader. Okay? But there's no 165 a year, Gary.
No.
So
that's not an accurate number.
No, it's only one time. I don't, at this point, there should be no confusion out of the fact that we paid the admin fee either the way we're doing it for 12 months, the $45 for 12 months, because you are now where you are at. That only lasts to January 15th. After that, you're going to pay $9 a month, or you're going to pay $45 for 6 months, or you're going to pay $81 for the year. But you're going to pay it with the 120. Yes, that's when we go automatic. The link, you're not receiving a link for your 120. It's in your back office. Your back office will turn from copy to pay your 120 when the person above you pays theirs. So I obviously now I see people that are obviously seeing that they can't pay their 120 because people above them haven't paid theirs. So please understand that. No, we're getting to pay. Shirley, yep. Shirley, you're sending things in the chat to hosted panelists only. I need everybody, if you're stating on hosted panelists only, change that to everyone. Everyone needs to see your questions. Yeah, it's like pulling teeth. Okay, why? I'm gonna ask some tough questions to you folks, and I'm gonna tell you why. You don't have to tell me why. I'm gonna tell you why it's tough, because you didn't talk to each other personally. I said for 5 months before we got to this point, everybody that was running their business, or they were just sending an email, they were sending a text, they were doing this, doing that, and just assumed because somebody paid the $45 that they were going to pay the 120, that was communication enough. It is not. It is not. Okay? And I don't care, Angela, if they're procrastinating. I don't care if they're procrastinating. And then you're just going to have to let that go. But if you've got that many people procrastinating, that's a different problem. Okay? I'm just going to be totally honest with you folks. I know every single one of the 62 people in my personal matrix. I could pick the phone up and have a conversation with them because I did. I have. Why? Because I was going to make sure that my family was not going to be sitting there with thousands of people under them not paying, like some of you are. Some of you got 50, 100 people under you that haven't paid yet. It's not because they can't. It's because nobody's communicating properly with them. Okay, I'm going to get off of that. January the 15th is the end of the $45. We're done with that. And if you don't watch, look, this is recorded. And I can tell you that I see how many people are watching recordings, and I don't see thousands of people watching the recordings. But I know that all my senior leaders and all Gary's senior leaders and all their leaders send these recordings to everybody. And if you're not getting the recording and you're not here, then I want to know why you're not getting the recording. But if you're getting the recording and you're not watching it, shame on you. I'm just going to be totally honest with you. Shame on you. That means you're not serious about this business. And hey, it's not for me to convince you otherwise. Okay? That's not my job. January the 15th, write this down. You will take a screenshot. I want you to hear this very carefully. You will take a screenshot of your finance page of your back office. You will go to your back office on the night of the 14th. You will screenshot the finance page. You can screenshot everything you want to screenshot, but you will screenshot the finance page because it has all of your commissions listed. It has your commissions from the matrix, from the mall, and it's added up, and it has your subscriptions that you've paid already for the month in there. But more importantly, it has your balance at that moment in time. Yes, exactly, David. Say it loud and proud. I like that. Say it loud and proud. You're looking, you're saying look for the blue. Yes, because it will. And if it's not, you need to be talking to the person above you who needs to be talking to the person above them, however high that needs to go.
Very simple. Everything's done from your back office. You will learn so much if you will log into your back office and take a look around. You're asking questions that shouldn't even be asked.
Yeah. And that's getting irritating, guys. I'm just going to tell you. That means that you're not serious about your business. You just want to come on a Zoom and throw 50,000 questions at us, and you haven't watched the videos. You haven't been in your back office. You're not trying to learn anything yourselves. Yeah. You don't normally hear this kind of stuff, do you? You don't, but you will from me, and you will from David, and you will from our senior leaders, because we are dead serious about what we're doing. So either you get serious or you just walk away. Just that simple. All right. Now, listen very carefully. The night of the 14th, you will go in your back office, or you won't, and you will go to your finance tab, and you'll click on your finance tab, and you'll let that load, and that night, take a complete screenshot and make sure you have it, and you save it in your folder. Now, why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this because I've been told already by Antonio that the whole page is going to be flushed, going to be gone. Now, they're doing this, they're trying to keep this in real time and not shut the back office down, but I seriously doubt that that's going to happen for at least that day. And why am I telling you to take a screenshot? I just told you why. Because they're going to take out everything that you see right now of your finance section. Why? Because they've got to reboot the whole system with the new what? With the new buttons where you will have the choice of 129, 165, or 181. I want to repeat myself. On on January the 15th, that morning, you go into your back office, you had better took a snapshot of your finance page the night before and saved it. And again, this is recorded, and I don't want a single person to come back to my leaders or me or Gary and say, you didn't tell me so, because I'm telling you so right now. And you're going to save that because it will be rebooted and the commissions will be put back in the way the commissions were left out, except for the upgrades that have happened in the between the time. Remember, we are in live real time. You're not used to this. There's nobody on this call that has ever been paid daily that I'm aware of. If you've ever been paid every day in a business opportunity, give me a 1. If you've ever been paid every day, 24/7, 365 in any other business opportunity, give me a 1, and I probably ain't going to see it. Shouldn't. All right. So yes, you don't understand how that actually works, but it is in real time. And all you got to do is go in your back office and take a snapshot tonight. And then save that one and go tomorrow morning and open it up and look and see the changes. And you'll see what I'm talking about. Now, I'm not talking about for somebody that doesn't have anybody. I'm not talking about for somebody that doesn't have at least their first 2 levels or 3 levels that are growing under them. Obviously, if you only got 1 level, you've got paid your 200, they took your 120, and you got whatever the balance is. And we know what those are. All right. Now, are they going to be exact? No, because you've got mall money coming. Do you all realize you're being paid in the mall? The mall's not even open. And the owners of the company are giving you money in 2 places of the mall already. Give me a 1 if that's okay with everybody, that the owners have decided that they're paying us money from the mall and the mall's not even turned on yet. But they are. Based on what organization you have paid into you and under you. Yes. So, understand, again, January 15th is the most important date for everybody right now for those 2 reasons. The $45 for 12 months is over. It's over. There's no ifs, ands, ors. Hey, hold up. Nope, nope, nope. It's over. And you tell your people it's over that are free. Okay? And yes, I know that there's people way down the line that are still coming free. All right. We asked for an extension and we got it. And they didn't have to give the extension that they did, just to be honest with you all. But they did, because they know that we have the biggest team that they've got. But we have to launch to the public. They are that close to launching to the public, and this is the way it is. Okay. Now, again, one more time, you're going to see this on. So you're going to have to skip to for the last 2 hours to get to this in your videos, and tell your people if they just want the updates, then skip to right at the beginning after the training in the first hour, then pass the 2 hours and start with the rest of the updates. All right. Now, Gary showed you that we're seeing a preview of the mall, and I'm telling you, once you see the pictures, you're going to understand why people are going to shop, why you're going to shop in the mall. And not just because you're getting paid to and cash back, but why other people that you know are going to want to shop in the mall. I've already got my stupid doctor's office. They're not stupid, but my doctor's office, one of my heart doctor's office. There's 8 nurses in there and said, well, give me your card. I didn't have a card to give them. They want to look at the mall. Are you freaking kidding me? I just did that just nonchalantly. Say, hey, ladies, do y'all shop? Yep. And 8 out of the 10 shop online and Amazon. And I said, well, if there was a mall that you could shop in online and you could get the same thing from Amazon from maybe me and it was cheaper, would you take a look at it? And they all wanted my card. Every one of them. Well, of course they would. You have to understand what you've got in your hands. This is nothing small, ladies and gentlemen. This is nothing small. And the opportunity for the income streams that you're going to build from beginning now for all of these that are just starting, okay? I'm talking to people that are just starting that maybe only have your first 2 people. You're in profit. You will never not be in profit unless you start doing paid advertising. That's on you, not on us. But now you got to learn how to build your business. This is why you come here. Okay, so we're done with the $45. I don't want to hear that from nobody no more. I don't. And the reason I do is only one reason, because you didn't get the information to your people, or you did get the information and they're not paying attention. And when they come to me, because they do, they always do. You wouldn't believe how many people keep coming to me, but guess what? I put them right back to you as leaders, and that's why you're in the positions you're in. The senior leadership is not all here, so I can't introduce them, but we did Thursday night. So if you're on the call, you got to meet the senior leadership team for 2025 getting started, and we added Big Al Connolly to that senior leadership team because he is well deserving, and we will add more people. We've got some brilliant ladies, okay, and we will be adding somebody, and I'm looking forward to the first lady on a team that has 1,000 under her. That's one of the qualifiers. Okay, so when you see 5, 6, 7 on the senior leadership team, and they already have over 1,000, that should tell you something very, very critical to your success, that everybody has the opportunity. It just depended on when you started and how serious you are or you are not. All right, now, yeah, Megan, my wife, Shirley, yeah, they all have thousands of people under them, okay? And they're excited. You know what, my wife, I'm not going to tell you what her back office says, because it's none of your business, okay? And I'm not being an ass about it. I'm just telling you the straightforward truth. And the fact of the matter is, once again, it's against the terms of service for me to tell you that. So you're not going to know mine. You're not going to know Gary's or David's. And if I find out that you're showing your back offices, there's going to be serious consequences. There will be. Not just from me. All right. So be careful. Do not use your back offices to entice people to join you in this business, because first of all, you don't have to do that. You don't have, nobody has to do that. Okay. Look, those are the two big ones. Now, I've got some other ones. Let me go to the senior leadership chat just quickly so I can pick up what I've put in there. Okay, Friday, kind of catching up for us. Friday from Danielle. Members can log into the back office, but can even pay, but they will not see their purchases activated right away, and no one can register at this time. Server maintenance was being done at this moment. Now that should be back up. Now, okay, let me clarify what I'm talking about. They streamlined the new startup process. So we're talking about people that haven't even paid an admin fee yet now. They've streamlined it because of compliance. It has to be a double opt-in. So you're not subscribing to a monthly service of any money. You're subscribing to a double opt-in. If you're familiar with Leads Leap, that is a double opt-in marketing company. Okay. You have to get a double opt-in. What does that mean? That means that you are going to subscribe to the email, and then they're going to send you an email, and you're going to confirm that. And that's exactly what this Alpes is doing now. Okay, so it's basically the start of it is your first name, last name. Use your legal names because you're going to need to with KYC anyway. So just use your legal first and last name. All right. And then obviously an email address. And then you're going to hit send, and you should be getting an email. Okay. Now there's some people that are getting the email, but once again, they're not checking their junk folders and their trash first. Okay. You got to do that once you have the process started, and you should get an email pretty quickly. All right. And then when you get that email, you're going to subscribe to the email. So now you're going to be on the DisAlps autoresponder. All right. That's going to activate the next email. The next email is going to give you the opportunity now as joining start to get into the process to what? To make your login, which is your username and your password. And then you're going to be able to get in and start your payment process. Okay. You want to, Ross has got a question there. You want to look at that?
Yeah. What if you paid the 45, yes, but did not get the link to pay the 120? All right, Ross, here's what you do. Let me grab a link. And not only you, but you may also want to have your upline sponsorship or leadership team help you as well with what I'm about to do.
Hey, Gary,
Yeah.
where is this business in that question about if we pay before January 31st?
What do you mean? January 15th, I see. I don't see.
Now look at the rest of the
I see at
question.
bottom. Are we grandfathered? No, hold on. You're missing something there, Ross, because the $45 ends January 15th. If you've already paid it, it's one thing. If you can't pay $45 after the 15th. After the 15th, you're going to see only three options. $9, $45, and $81 are the three options at that point. So, and I'm gonna put this to everyone just so you know. This is the support email right here. If you don't have a link, you didn't get your link after you paid the 45. Now, there's two steps that's got to happen before you'll get that link. Okay? Your sponsor has to have already paid their 120 and upgraded to ambassador status. Okay? And they would have had a blue link in their back office telling them to invoice for ambassador. All right. So if you paid the 45, but your sponsor hasn't upgraded yet, it's holding you up. But in the chat right here is support's email, info@desalps.world. I would touch with them first. How many people do you need to earn 10,000 a month? Let's kind of qualify that because the number is going to be an abstract number. Why? Because the mall's not open yet. The bulk of your income that will get you there is going to come from where? The mall. We know for a fact when you get, say, 1,000 people, we know that you'll be over that. Why? Because between the unilevel and the 2x20 and the other 2x20, you're going to exceed that number. Now, is that number 750? Is that number 800? I don't know. There's no way that I can know. And it's going to vary. There's some variables in there. How many ambassador 3s, 4s, 5s do you have in the one matrix versus how many people in the so the number could vary a little bit. I just don't really know how to answer it, but I can tell you, if you have 1,000 people, you're going to be there no matter what. You might be able to get there with 800 or 900. I don't know for sure.
Yep. Yes, that is in the back office. We're sitting here telling everybody that come January the 15th, that things are going to be rebooted. So yes, the function, and it's always been in the back office that the functionality of everything could be changed from day to day. Okay. And January 31st is not about anything but the fact that the mall is coming at the end of January 31st.
Oh man. And I suspect our debit card will be ready almost at the same time.
Fran, what is that YouTube link you just put in there, Francisco? Nobody puts links in this chat without it being one of us, please. Thank you.
Anthony, they may have extended the 15th to the 31st. Maybe that's a message.
No, that Antonio was very clear to me. The
Oh.
$45 is done on the 15th.
Okay. Well, guys, we're running 3 hours and 46 minutes, so I think it's time to wrap this one up for today.
Yeah, that's
Unless there's something urgent.
no. Those are the two main things. And as the back office has always said, that things are going to be skewed, things are going to be going in and out. We've known this before we even started earning a dime in our back office.
The golf ball just hit my roof.
Yeah.
So, all right, guys, let's call it a night.
For those of you that got questions that you still are unclear about, go to your leadership. Go to your leadership and ask them, please, and use your chain of command.
All right, enjoy your day, everyone. We appreciate it.
Y'all have a great rest of your Saturday.
Yep.
Yes.
Reach
Yes.
out to your leaders.
NFL playoffs are going today.
Yes. All right, guys.
All
Take
right.
care.
Thank you all for being here.